Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are Ohio.
Clinching celebrations are always special. This one in particular, 1997, Sandy Alomar Jr. walks off the New York Yankees, giving the Indians their, at that time, third consecutive Central Division championship. We're all primed and ready for a potential clinch here today in Cleveland. It's down to this: win and they're in. It's as simple as that. Minnesota walked off last night in Kansas City by the Royals. So it's all down to what the Indians do here today against the Detroit Tigers. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Mike Clevenger will get the start for the Tribe today. And Rick, the last time out, he lost, and it was the first time he'd tasted defeat since July. That's how good a run he's been on.
Yeah, he's been throwing the ball very well in his last 7 starts. He has a 4-1 record, a nice ERA of 2.11. He's pitched 2 games against Detroit this year. Both times he left the game losing 2-1. So he's 0-1 on the year, but he's pitched very well offensively. Hopefully they can help him out today and get him some runs early. He's 6-3 in his home ballpark, and see if Mike Clevenger can be the man on the mound when they clinch it.
Yeah, the Indians offense has been languishing here over the last couple of weeks. We'll see if they can get started today against Michael Fulmer. We'll be back with the play-by-play. Al and Jensen have the showstopper, and we'll check in with Andre Knott all straight ahead. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by Who But WB Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians. By your Northern Ohio Honda dealers, made in Ohio, Ohio proud. And by St. Mary of the Woods, a faith-oriented senior living community in the heart of Avon.
The American League Central
Their magic number down to 1. All they have to do is win today, and it is all theirs. Welcome back to center field along with Jensen Lewis. I'm Al Pulowski. Now, why is the magic number down to 1? Let's take a look at our showstopper, and we'll tell you why. Last night, the Kansas City Royals beat the Minnesota Twins, and it was thanks to Salvador Perez with a walk-off grand slam in the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah, off a slider from Trevor Hildenberger, who allowed 5 runs in the 9th inning. Royals capping it off in grand style. Salvador Perez, who's dealt with injuries all year long, comes back in a big way, and we thank you, Kansas City, for giving us the opportunity to possibly clinch it here on our own. Control your own destiny. That's how you want to go into the playoffs. Hopefully Mike Clevenger and the Indians offense get out early and often on Michael Fulmer to make it an easy win in a champagne bath later today.
So it really is that simple, an Indians win or a Minnesota Twins loss. But of course, Matt and Rick, who have the call today, guys, I think we would much rather see the Indians win and get it done this afternoon here in Cleveland.
Yes, indeed. And you guys are the bearers of good news. You give us that good news about Kansas City last night knocking off the Twins. Nobody likes to be the bearer of bad news. Not even our own Andre Knott, the man with the sunniest disposition on our entire television crew. So, Andre, what good news do you bring us here today?
Well, let's start it back a little bit. For Trevor Bauer, this has been a good week for the Indians. Despite the record, we've seen Andrew Miller and we've seen Josh Donaldson playing in the Chief Wahoo uniform for the Indians. Now, the downside has been that they have not seen Trevor Bauer, who went on the DL back on August 12th. We all remember the play that happened in Chicago when the ball was hit back up the middle on him, and he ended up hurting his ankle. Well, we're now closer to the moment in time that we'll see Trevor Bauer pitch in a game. Earlier today, he was on the mound. He was throwing, and he's going to do this again on Tuesday versus some hitters from the Indians. Now, if it's up to Trevor Bauer, now listen to this close, Arch. He wants to pitch 3 times before the season ends on September 30th. He'd like to pitch 1 time on this homestand, twice on the last road trip, and possibly on the last day of the season, hoping he would be ready to go against the Astros. Now, it's up to Terry Francona and the coaching staff. It may only be 2 outings, but this may be the best news that we've heard all month about Trevor Bauer and where he is at.
No question about it. You know what? If it's up to Trevor, I believe he can go out there 3 times and do whatever he wants to do. But you know, I don't think it's totally going to be up to him. You know, there's so many people involved, but we certainly would love to get him back as soon as possible.
It's just a good sight seeing him on the mound, pushing off that fractured ankle, being able to throw the baseball. Everything else will come. You know, hopefully, I know he's worked his tail off to keep his arms strong. So, I mean, there's still going to be a little trying to get back into the flow of things, but
it's been a month, you know, since he's been out, and we haven't fared very well since he's been out. His turn in the rotation, you know, he was having a fantastic year, and for him to just all of a sudden disappear for a month, you know how he's chomping at the bit to come back.
All right, so the good news continues. Now the Indians, it's all up to the guys on the field. Mike Clevenger will lead them out, trying to wrap up a 10th American League Central Division Championship here this afternoon against the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, and they're due to have a good game offensively. They haven't really put together a good offensive game in quite a while, but it's going to be up to Mike Clevenger, who will be the Northern Ohio Honda starting pitcher for the Indians. Mike is 11-8 on a year, fine .316 ERA. He's approaching 200 innings. That'd be something if he could get that. 182 1/3. He's approaching 200 strikeouts. He has 191. He has made 2 starts against the Tigers this year. He is 0-1, but he's pitched well in both those games. He left those games losing 2-1, and he's 0-1 against them, but 4-2 in his career. And let's see if he can get the clinching win today.
The lineup he will face for Ron Gardenhire and the Detroit Tigers. Jamer Candelario will lead it off. Kristen Stewart batting second. Nick Castellanos hits third. Victor Martinez, Jim Adduci, James McCann in the middle. Jacoby Jones, Dawel Lugo, and Pete Kozma batting ninth.
And let's check out the Indians defense, brought to you by Ram. It'll be Brantley in left field, Kipnis in center, Cabrera over and right. On the infield, Yandy Diaz gets the start at third, Lindor is at short, Ramirez at second, Alonso at first, and Perez is behind the plate.
Mark Wagner calls the balls and strikes. He is the crew chief. Andy Fletcher at first, John Tumpane at second, and Jeremy Rahak at third. And we're ready to go on an absolutely perfect Saturday afternoon here at the ballpark. 80 degrees, Lots of sunshine. There is a little breeze blowing in from center field and right center field today. Might knock the ball down. Mike Clevenger taking the ball after an Indians loss this year has gone 8-1 with a .222 earned run average. Last night it was just a matter of the Indians offense just couldn't get going.
Yeah, it's been sputtering for a while.
They only had 3 hits until the 9th inning, and they got 3 more hits. Well, we'll see what happens here today. Mike Clevenger's wide. Today's first pitch is a fastball just off the outside corner. Candelario led off the game with a home run last night for the Tigers. 4th time he's done that this year. Clevenger's next pitch just missing, 2-0. Then Candelario came up later in the game and broke a 2-all tie with an RBI double. 96-mile-an-hour fastball right by him. Just missed away, 3-1. And he draws a leadoff walk. Today's storylines are brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Magic number down to 1. And offensively, when you don't hit with runners in scoring position, it makes it difficult to score.
Yes, it does.
And they are just 5 for their last 55 in those situations. So here's Christian Stewart. Youngster getting his first taste of big league baseball, just 3 for 16. One of the Tigers' top prospects. Good power numbers each of the last 3 years in the minors. Infield double play depth. Candelario, not much of a base stealing threat. And that was close. They got him, picked him off. Mike Clevenger with those quick feet. Spinning on a dime, flips it over there, and Alonso slapped the tag on him.
That is number 6 on the year on pickoffs for Mike Clevenger. I mean, you talk about quick feet, and you're saying he's not really going anywhere. So to get picked off is a little bit crazy, isn't it? But Clevenger, one of the best right-handers to do it. There's no doubt about it.
Looks like they got him.
Yeah.
No challenge.
That's 6 pickoffs. And that's the most for a right-hander since Candiotti had 6 in 1989.
And you're right, Archie. He didn't have a big lead. It wasn't like he was really tempting you to throw over there.
It's crazy. You should never get picked off when you're not stealing.
Candelario has 2 steals, and he's been caught twice. So you're not really expecting him to take off there. It's just a matter of I want to keep him close. And he ends up picking him off, and he's tied for the league lead. I would say, and there's probably no way to maybe quantify this, but other than Justin Verlander, I can't think of a guy who spins and makes that move faster than Mike Clevenger.
Yeah, and you know they're both tall guys, and a lot of times it's tough when the taller you are they have quick feet. Doug Fister was one guy also that was pretty quick.
That's right. Lindor called off by Jason Kipnis, the center fielder, 2 away. And up comes Nick Castellanos.
Number 9, the right fielder, Nicholas Castellanos.
You ever get picked off to start a game like that? You leading off, you get on base, you get picked off.
Not that I recall.
You'd probably want to feel like crawling back into the dugout.
Well, yes, because you just took some momentum away. He walks you, and you're the leadoff hitter. And if you're not stealing, that's you just should not get picked off.
Castellanos fouls one off to the right.
It's another thing if you're trying to get a lead and all of a sudden you get caught out there. But if you're not running, then that's a huge mistake.
Here's a fly ball to right. Cabrera fighting the sun. Melky drifting back, just shy of the track. And the inning is over. The Indians are coming to bat.
Hyundai starting pitcher for the Tigers. Fulmer just 3 wins this year. He's 3-11. He's on a 6-game losing streak, covering 9 starts. His last win came June 14th against the Minnesota Twins. And as a matter of fact, his 3 wins all have come against the Central Division. And he is 0-1 in 2 starts against the Indians this year.
Francisco Lindor will step in to lead it off for Cleveland. He was 1 for 4 last night. He led off the game with a base hit to left center field. It got by the left fielder Stewart, and he ended up on third to start the game, but the Indians didn't get him in. There's a drag bunt that goes foul. The Indians starting lineup brought to you by Progressive Insurance. For Terry Francona today, Michael Brantley following Lindor, and then Jose Ramirez. Edwin Encarnacion hitting cleanup. Yonder Alonso at first base bats 5th. Melky Cabrera is 6th. Yandy Diaz in at third base. He'll bat 7th. No Josh Donaldson today. Jason Kipnis hitting 8th. And Roberto Perez bats 9th. The wind and the 0-1, and Lindor wraps it to deep right field. Castellanos, he's out of room. It's out of here. The Indians will play from in front. Lindor's 35th home run of the season. The Indians have out-homered Detroit 31-10 in the season series.
Well, look at it on our Nissan pitch tracker. Down and in. He went from a bunt to a bomb. And that was a line drive. Got out of here in a hurry. His 35th homer. And what's that? The 7th time this year he's led off with a home run?
8th time. 8th time that Lindor has led off with a home run, most in Indians history. Happy moment indeed in the dugout. Brantley pulls one foul. Michael Brantley awaits the 1-1, and he lifts one to right field. That's deep. That's over Castellanos' head. That's gone too. How's that for a start? Back-to-back home runs. Lindor and Brantley. And it's 2-0 Cleveland.
What do you know? Offensively, I had a feeling they were due for a game. Here's a changeup from Fulmer to Michael Brantley, who keeps his hands and his weight back beautifully. And he hits a line drive, and it gets out of here. And now you're going to get the manager and the trainer out to the mound, looking at Michael Fulmer.
That is the 8th time this year the Indians have gone back-to-back, second in as many games. Encarnacion Donaldson did it last night. And now here today it's Lindor and Brantley. Brantley has been involved in 4 of the back-to-back home run scenarios, but this is the first time Lindor has combined with anyone this year to go back-to-back.
Yeah, and 8 times he's let a game off, so with a homer. Well, I don't know if maybe something was wrong with him before the start they were going to keep an eye on or what, but after 2 hitters, and I know both of them left the yard.
He's done.
One was a fastball, the other's a changeup, and he's leaving the ball game. So there may have been something going on before he even went out to start today that they were going to keep an eye on. So it is a very short afternoon for him.
What a start to this beautiful afternoon here at Progressive Field. Back-to-back homers by Lindor and Brantley, and the Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen has already been made. We'll be right back. 2-0 Indians. Two to nothing on back-to-back home runs to start the game. Take another look at Lindor's home run on StatCast AI, powered by AWS.
Leaving it at 105. The hang time was a little over 4 seconds. Brantley's a little bit less velo out there, and just a little bit less hang time. And that was Brantley hit the 200th home run for the Indians this year.
How about 100 of those have been at home and 100 of them on the road?
There you go. And we're pretty close on the home road splits. Same number of games. I think we may be one off. Let's see.
Matt Hall is the new pitcher for the Tigers, left-hander. At AA and AAA had a good year, really good year. He was the Tigers minor league pitcher of the year. But A little different situation when all of a sudden that phone rings and they say, get up, you're in the game.
Well, yeah. Well, sometimes it may be the best thing. You don't have time to think about it.
True, that's true.
Well, while he's warming up, we have an opportunity to give you that Tigers defense. It'll be Stewart in left field. Jones is in center. Castellanos over and right. And on the infield, Candelario at third, Cosma at short, Lugo is at second, Aducci at first, and McCann behind the plate.
All right, let's go down to Andre. I read the starting lineup. Fans are wondering, why isn't Josh Donaldson in there? You know, home run last night. Is everything okay, Andre?
He feels okay. Let's get that out there first. This is part of the plan. Tito Francona told us yesterday that he would play Friday, have the day off, be back in the lineup tomorrow. They hope that he can go back-to-back starting maybe Tuesday, and then start going back-to-back from there. But the team wants to be safe with Josh early on, but there's nothing wrong with him. This is a part of the plan. He'll be available to pinch it if needed later in the game.
Donaldson and Lindor. Guess what they're talking about?
I wouldn't be hitting, would it?
That guy probably waiting. His alarm clock goes off and he's like, 3-2 pitch. It was on the outside corner. I was looking in. I mean, he loves to talk hitting. He's always got somebody's ear. Here's Jose Ramirez. And pitch is low, ball one. Jose 0 for 3 last night. Fastball fouled back, 1-1. Strange, has to be strange for the hitters. You prepare, you go over the scouting reports, you look at video, and then before you turn at bat, that guy's not even in the game. And so now you're facing a guy that you have probably no information on because he hasn't even been in the big leagues this year, and you just go up there and it's back to the old basics, Art. See ball, hit ball, huh?
Exactly. You get up here, you're in September 15th. It doesn't matter. Right-hander, left-hander. They've been 600 at bats so far to this point. They don't care. It's a pitcher. Let's go. I got to get a base hit and keep it simple, and he does. So the first 3 have reached.
Edwin Encarnacion. He blasted a home run to the bleachers last night.
And that hit him. Or at least it looked like it did.
I think it just bounced way out in front. I think he got out of the way of it. And it's a wild pitch to put Jose in scoring position.
Well, he's got to jump a little rope to get out of the way. It's coming in. That's, you know, trying to get that back foot slider, but it came way out in front and short.
Edwin shoots one to first. Backhanded. No! It gets by Aducci. Coming around to score is Ramirez. And it's 3-0 Cleveland. That'll be an error, I think, on the first baseman.
I would agree with that. It was just a routine play. He wasn't going to, all he had to do was catch it and get to the base and flip it over there, but he never came up with it on the backhand side, and they just kept Ramirez running. So yes, it is an error. Backhanded play. Aducci under his glove into right field. So it is 3-0. No RBI.
Edwin won't be happy about that. He's bearing in on 100. He's at 97 coming into today. Just the same. It's 3-0 Cleveland, and Yonder Alonso, the 5th man to bat in the inning. Pinch hit last night, got a base hit in the 9th. Also came around to score a run. And a ground ball. Weekly hit, could be 2. And another error by the Tigers. Oh, a calamity here at the outset for Detroit. 2 errors and a pitcher that didn't last more than 5 pitches into this game. And now back-to-back hitters reach on defensive miscues.
Well, we did mention it last night that this infield is having some problems defensively. That's why they brought Cosma up to sort of solidify that shortstop. And I'll tell you what, you have an error at the first baseman, now second baseman. Back-to-back errors, and this game is not starting out the right way for the Tigers.
2 on, still nobody out. Melky Cabrera takes a fastball strike. Melky drove in a run with a sacrifice fly last night. And a low pitch, bottom part of the zone. It's 0-2. Reached for it and fouls it off. So Matt Hall is 6 feet, 199 pounds, 25 years old, and we told you he's the Tigers minor league pitcher of the year. Had a 2.13 ERA. But his fastball's topping out here 88, 89 miles an hour at best, which tells you he's hiding it maybe a little bit. It gets on the hitter quicker.
Yeah.
And there's a line drive center field base hit for Cabrera. Stopping at third is Edwin, and the bases are loaded.
Well, this game can get out of control right now in the first inning for Detroit, and he had Cabrera down in the count with 2 strikes. He tried to run that in. He didn't have enough on it to get it in there, and Melky fights it off and gets a base hit to center field. Now the first 6 have reached. 4 by hits, 2 by errors. They have the bases loaded, still nobody out.
And Yandy Diaz, the batter, 0 for 2 with a walk last night. But a chance to really inflict some damage now.
Yandy's been good with bases loaded this year. They need an out, period.
They'll get 1, and that's all they'll get. Another run scores. 4-0 Indians. Cabrera forced it second on the play. Yonder Alonso goes to third. Diaz safe at first on the fielder's choice and picks up an RBI. And so now Jason Kipnis, the 8th man to bat in the inning, and still only 1 out. He was 0 for 4 last night. Couple of home runs, 8 runs batted in this year against Tigers pitching for Kip. And pop to left. Stewart will make the catch. Tagging, coming home is Alonso. And the throw is not in time. It got by the catcher, McCann. And it's a 5-run first for Cleveland. Give Jason Kipnis his 66th run batted in on the year.
Well, the ball gets in there, and it looks like it just gets by McCann because it may have been in the way. Alonso comes in. There's the hop, and he just couldn't pick it, and it looked like he was going to slide under the tag anyway.
I agree with you.
You know, so they weren't going to get him. That was offline. So Diaz went to second base. Kip gets a sac fly. It's a 5-run first inning.
And the 9th man to bat is Roberto Perez. And a strike in there.
On the year for Detroit against the Indians, they played 18 games. They have made 17 errors in the 18 games.
Now, you said before, you know, that the defense lately has been good. It's probably not been good all season long.
Right.
Though in a division that has really been bad all season long. The Tigers have avoided the sort of free fall that befell Kansas City and even the White Sox at one point this year. Kansas City on the verge of dropping 100 games this year. And the White Sox sit at 89 losses heading into play today. Ron Gardenhire, first year at the helm here in Detroit. The 2-2. And it's been in. It got hit off the knob of the bat. Well, maybe it hit him on the hand, but nope.
It was a deflection.
Oh no, he hit off the back of the barrel.
He barely got that bat off his shoulder there, and it ended up deflecting off the barrel of the bat. Sure did.
Yandy Diaz, the runner at second. Foul ball. You know, you see that play in a baseball game where it deflects off a bat accidentally almost in most cases like that. And you think to yourself, no wonder in hockey a goalie has no chance for when those guys just tip it in on a redirection like that. Because those guys probably,
they see it coming. There's nothing you can do if something gets in its way.
When a guy lets it rip, it's probably close to a big league fastball.
Absolutely. They're about 100 miles.
Yeah.
Yes, I would agree with that. It's at least 90. You're right. They stand no chance. And how many times do you see a little deflection where it'll go back, hit the umpire, or hit the catcher and the umpire?
Oh,
you know, we see it a number of times throughout the course of the year.
This is only the 26th pitch of the inning. It's kind of happened quickly when you consider that this is the 9th man to bat already for Cleveland. And we've already had a pitching change. Bloop to right. This might be trouble. Castellanos coming in. Can't get there. Scoring is Diaz. And Roberto Perez with a 2-out RBI single makes it a 6-run first inning for Cleveland. Perfectly placed by Roberto Perez.
Well, when you're playing deep, you know, and he's not a normal right fielder. We told you last night, his first year with the wind blowing in. Today's the day you might be able to cheat in a little bit, especially with the number 9 hitter. But Perez finds a way to get it in front of him, keeps the inning going, makes it a 6-run first inning.
Francisco Lindor led off the game batting left-handed and hit a home run. It's the 8th time he has led off a game this year with a homer. His 35th overall this season. Now bets for the 2nd time in the inning, hitting right-handed and takes a pitch up high.
It's now 110 runs in the first inning for the Tribe, which is the most of any inning for them.
Redbird says it's only the 6th time in Indians history that they've had a game start with back-to-back home runs.
Huh.
And the last time was 2 years ago. And it was Carlos Santana and Jason Kipnis leading off and going back-to-back. Second time the Indians have done it against the Tigers. The last time predates you. 1971. Just missed outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, this is another example, though, of how an inning can get away from you when you give teams extra outs, and they've given the Indians 5 outs in the inning.
Yeah, you're right. It's just one of those things, boy, when you make a mistake. And the Indians were due. They've been struggling offensively, but, you know, when they hit long ball, they usually do very well. And, boy, they started to smell it a little bit. And you give them a couple extra outs, and everything starts falling for you. They have not been able to hit with runners in scoring position. They've really been struggling. Now they get a 2-out base hit by Perez in the first inning.
Ground ball hit it to short. Cosma cuts it off. He'll have to go to first. He does. And the inning is over. But the Indians strike big in the first. They score 6 runs. A couple of homers, a couple of errors, and the Indians are sitting pretty. Making what is very likely his final appearance as a major leaguer here in Cleveland. There is 1 game to go in the series. If he's in the lineup, he'll have 1 more shot tomorrow. But Victor has announced that this is it. He's hanging him up at the end of the year. What a career he has had. "17-year veteran."
Yeah,
signed with the Indians as a kid. Made his debut with the Tribe. Was part of sort of the rebirth of the Indians, if you will, in the middle of the last decade.
Very good catcher at one time. Always a good hitter.
Swing and a miss. Mike Clevenger ahead of him on ball and 2 strikes. He doubled and drove in a run last night. Among active switch hitters, 4 times, 20 and 100. And man, he has been through more than his share of injuries. The 2-2 offering is down low. He and Sandy Alomar could probably sit around and compare scars and scar tissue for a long time. The only difference is that Sandy was a catcher his whole career. Victor hung up the catching part of his career probably, what, about 8 years ago, maybe?
Yeah. Well, they could be surgeons, both of them, as many surgeries as they had.
One-hop smash. Yandy Diaz is there. And with the shift on, he'll throw out Victor. 1 down. Before the game, the Indians, a really classy gesture, sending Victor off, and he got very emotional. I think perhaps it finally hit him that this is it, and this is where it all began for him. And he's always had very fond and special feelings for Cleveland whenever he's come back here.
Well, he never really wanted to leave here when he was traded, you know, so this I'm sure was very emotional for him.
It's only the 2nd time I've ever seen him cry, and the first time was when they traded him to Boston. But I think that moment right there, he wasn't expecting that. I don't think he was expecting all of those emotions. And when he was standing out there, I think it just flooded over him.
Just win. Tito says he may be the best switch hitter that he's ever seen in his time around Major League Baseball. And he says he's one of the nicest guys. But the compliment that Tito told me about Victor that stood out, he says in his opinion, there was no one better to hit behind Miggy in the days where Miggy was hitting the way he was for Detroit than Victor Martinez. How he protected him from both sides.
Clevenger throws out Jim Adduci, and there are 2 down. That's a great compliment, because Miguel Cabrera was so lethal, and we watched it for years. It's like, man, you would just hope that he came to bat with nobody on base, so maybe you could walk him or work around him. But then if you did, and there was somebody on base and Victor came up, then you still had to deal with him.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And Tito said the problem wasn't if you had a righty or lefty, because he was a switch hitter. You could go through the process of walking Cabrera, but you would get yourself in trouble because Victor was hitting 330 right behind him.
Yeah, they did a lot of damage to a lot of different teams.
There's a line on the pitch, and Mike Clevenger misses low with a fastball to James McCann.
Nice breaking ball there to get it in for a strike.
Swing and a piece of it maybe, or just swung and missed. I couldn't tell. 1-2. I think he just whiffed on it. It was a nasty off-speed pitch from Clevenger that has great movement. Bounced in there.
He's bounced a couple in there already today, early out in front of the plate.
High heat, no chase, full count. Right back to Clevenger. How do you like that play? Flips to first. The Tigers go 1-2-3. 6-0 Cleveland. Tires that deliver superior performance in clutch situations. Goodyear, more driven. What a sight on a gorgeous
Yes, indeed.
Saturday here in September.
Middle of September, it doesn't get any better than this.
You know, Arch, for the longest time this year, the Indians have made the first inning their calling card.
Yeah.
But lately, they haven't been doing that. Only one first inning run in their last 7 games coming into today. And boom, they explode with a 6th spot in the first.
It makes a difference, doesn't it? To this team, it does.
It's been their biggest.
You know, we talk about it, the first 2 innings with this ball club. And you know what their record is when they have that lead after 2 innings, and it's impressive.
They've outscored their opponents now 110-70 in the first inning this year. And when the Indians lead after just 2 innings at home, they're 25-7. On the road, they're 15-9.
Yeah, and they're not a great come from behind team for whatever reason with the good hitters that they have. They put up finishes. They just came short last night at being down 3. They were able to get 2. They had the winning run at the plate. But they do it early, and that's where they have their success.
Brantley spun out of the way. And it's 3-1.
Well, you can tell it's getting to October time with the later start. Now it's 3 o'clock. It was supposed to be a 1 o'clock start. You see those light towers, the shadows starting to creep in.
Right.
Late in the afternoon.
Walks him. And the leadoff man aboard.
Well, enhance your next game day experience with the MLB Ballpark app. Access and manage your tickets. Enjoy check-in offers, exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today.
Jose Ramirez, a single and a run scored in the first. And that was off Matt Hall, who came on after Michael Fulmer was taken out after just 2 batters. Fulmer lasted 5 pitches, gave up back-to-back home runs. And the net result was inflammation in his right knee. That's what we're told.
Yeah, so then they must have known that before he went out there to start, that he was having some issues with it.
Up and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Ramirez with a line drive to right field. That'll get down. It's going to send Brantley all the way to third. Ramirez is going into second. He's going to keep on going. And coming around to score is Brantley. I don't know what happened to Castellanos in the corner, if he botched it or if he just couldn't track it down. But it ends up being an RBI triple and a 7-0 Cleveland Indians lead.
Well, I want to see. I didn't see him. What happened to him over there. It was going to be a double anyway because Jose runs out of the batter's box. What happens to him? He doesn't make a play. That may be a double and an error with no RBIs there.
I think that's a tough call. They give him a double, and I don't know. To me, he's on the dead run. I know what you're saying, but he's on the dead run. He doesn't have a chance to plant his feet and make a play there.
It doesn't matter. You got to catch that ball, and it's going to be a double anyway. He played it into a triple.
All right. Infield in. Here's another look at Castellanos. He's on the move.
Look at it. You got to catch the ball. He just on the run. He just did.
Yeah.
That's number one. You weren't going to throw him out at second base. That's the only thing I'm saying. Just catch the ball and get it in. That's their 3rd error of the day.
I'll tell you what made it look bad is it looked rather nonchalant the way he put the glove down. But again, you know, he's moving.
I understand when you're running. That's the one part of an outfielder you got to do. You just got to make sure you catch the ball before you can, you know, just try and get it in your glove and throw it.
Edwin Encarnacion, he reached on an error. There were 2 errors back-to-back in the first inning.
Yeah, the tough thing about that call, it would have been Ramirez's 100th RBI if they give him a triple.
Well, they give him the RBI, double and an RBI.
Oh, okay.
So that gets him his 100th RBI.
I didn't.
At least that was the official scorer's decision.
Gotcha.
Which leads me back to a point we had a conversation earlier today. Oh man, Castellanos got a late break. He won't even get there.
No.
And Ramirez trots home from third. 8-0 Cleveland.
Well, there's a play. Yeah, he broke back and he played this into a single. I'll tell you what. You certainly don't want to look at this Tiger team in the first 2 innings of this game and talk anything about defense, because they have just flat out been terrible defensively.
Does Castellanos get fooled on the swing by Edwin?
Yeah,
because he was sort of flat-footed and then he panicked.
And he didn't. Yeah, he just didn't pick up the ball, and he broke back instead of breaking in, and it wasn't hit hard. Not a good read whatsoever. But it goes for a single, drives in a run.
Yonder Alonso takes a strike on the outside corner. And Yonder rips a base hit into right field. Hit the lip of the grass as it bounded out toward right. But Edwin all the way to third base. And the hit parade continues. 3 straight hits in the inning.
Well, he got a breaking ball that Hall could not get away from him. And you're going to see it stays middle of the plate, and Yonder took advantage of it. Encarnacion can go to third base, and this is going to be a long afternoon for that Tigers bullpen.
Now, currently, I don't see anyone up, so they're hoping that Matt Hall can give him a little length here, but it doesn't look good right now.
Yeah, it started with a walk. There's still nobody out in this inning, and 4 guys have been to the plate.
So, by the way, remember we said last time the Indians had a game where they started off back-to-back against the Tigers with home runs was 1971. How about these names? This would be a good bar bet you could maybe win. Who were the guys that went back-to-back for the Indians in that game?
I was trying to think about it when
Great
you said.
names, too.
Well, it wasn't 71. Could it have been Buddy Bell?
Greg Nettles and Vada Pinson. Wow. Went back-to-back to start the game. Off Dean Chance, by the way.
Oh, boy, an Ohio boy.
Yep. And then coming out of the bullpen and going 6 innings of 3-hit shutout relief and getting the win for the Tigers as they came from behind in the game was Joe Niekro.
Really?
Another Ohio guy. How about that? Melky Cabrera, he lined a single up the middle. His first time up. And now he's going to punch one into left field. That's going to get down. Everything's coming up roses for Cleveland. Encarnacion comes home to score 3 runs home here in the 2nd inning, and it's 9-0.
Yeah, they're going to take out some frustration today. Hitting with runners in scoring position has been a problem, but it's starting to come to life today. They get a little break, and everybody's relaxed, and they're just everything going their way.
Well, in their previous 22 games, the Indians had gone just 9-13, and as a team, they were hitting .238.
Well, here they are in the 2nd inning. Now they have 10 hits.
Unbelievable. And they're loaded up again. Alonso to third, Cabrera to second, Yandy Diaz with an opposite field single.
5 straight hits.
And 6 straight have reached to start the inning.
Look at, he doesn't even want to look. He's looking at the helmets. He doesn't know what to do.
You won't find any answers in there.
No, I don't think he's looking for answers.
Jason Kipnis, a sacrifice fly, picked up an RBI his first time up. front on the slow breaking ball.
I've got to send along some happy birthday wishes. I was supposed to do it yesterday, but I want to wish a very special happy birthday to Jamie Miller. Sorry, Jamie, I forgot yesterday. It was my fault. Floyd Tennyson of Eastlake is turning 87 today.
Also, very special happy birthday wishes. I'm told she never misses a game on television. Marge Brown in Struthers, Ohio, celebrating her 90th birthday.
No, Marge, very happy birthday. I hope you don't know the Mr. Tom Bochenik.
Here's the 1-1. And a low fastball in there for a strike.
Well, you're a young guy. You get the call up in September. If you're Hall, you've got to grind it out, man. Matt Hall's got to. He's been roughed up early.
You know what's crazy is that he's already made 52 pitches.
Yeah. To get 3 outs.
Yes.
Look at runners in scoring position today. 5 for 7. They were 5 for. That's unbelievable. 5 for 55 in their last 6 games. And this is how this offense has been this year. They'll go out and they'll get 8 hits one game, and then it'll go dry for a while.
Hit him. Another run is in. 10-0 Cleveland.
Well, I don't know how much longer he's going to stay out there.
And that's going to be it for Matt Hall.
Yeah. I mean, has 2 strikes. He's throwing the breaking ball, and Kip doesn't even move. It catches him on the elbow, and he gets a ribby for it. Another run will score. Another pitcher will enter.
Ron Gardenhire, on his way to making a pitching change, stops and talks to home plate umpire Mark Wegner. The third Tigers pitcher of the afternoon enters the game in the bottom of the 2nd inning with nobody out, and the Indians up 10-0. Right-hander comes on with the bases loaded, nobody out, and the Indians already up 10-0 in the 2nd inning.
Well, a guy that's was called up from Double-A this year. He's appearing for the 5th time, and he's thrown 9 2/3 scoreless innings over his first 4 appearances to begin his major league career, allowing 3 hits, 3 walks, and striking out 5. And he's coming into a bases loaded jam. And with Perez coming to the plate, every Indians hitter now will have hit at least twice, and we're in the 2nd inning, and there's still nobody out here. So twice in actually just an inning.
Sandy Baez is ready. Tell you what, this guy's throwing the ball well. 9 2/3 scoreless innings over 4 appearances. I'm trying to see if he pitched at AAA or if he's another one of those guys who went right from AA to the big leagues.
I think it's right from AA. On September 1st, they called him up.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think he had a game at AAA this year. So,
like I say, those AAA guys, sometimes a lot of veteran pitchers that, you know, that get called up and down and up and down. And the prospects a lot are at AA with good arms. So we'll see if he can. I bet he has a good arm, and it's all about commanding your secondary pitches. But this is a heck of a way to come into a ball game. You know, at the big league level, bases loaded, nobody out, and they've already scored 10. Well, I guess you got nothing to lose.
That's true. Unlike the left-hander from the White Sox, Rodon, when he came in, it was bases loaded, but the game was on the line.
Yeah, and he was a rookie. That was his major league appearance, his first major league appearance, and they brought him in. Robin Ventura did. He sure did.
Hit the umpire. Luckily for McCann, it didn't go anywhere. Two balls and a strike. Nobody out. Bases loaded. Here in the second. A win, and the Indians clinch the Central Division Championship for the 10th time in their franchise history. Which, again, the Central Division has only been around since the realignment, which occurred in '94, when they went to 3 divisions in each league.
Yeah, in '94 they didn't even have the playoffs.
There's a high fly ball left field. Back is Kristen Stewart onto the warning track and just barely makes the catch on the dirt. Trotting home from third with the 11th run of the game is Melky Cabrera. Roberto Perez with his 13th run batted in. I make it his 14th run batted in on the year, his second of the afternoon. Take a look at our AARP take on today. Francisco Lindor led off the game with a home run. And he has tortured the Central Division. 7 homers against the Tigers, 6 against the Royals, and 6 against the Twins.
Last one, Mickey Mantle, 1961. How about that?
Sandy Baez misses ball 1. Out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lindor with a line drive to right. And it'll be caught by Castellanos. 2 down. The game began with a leadoff home run from Francisco Lindor, his 8th of the year, most ever in a single season by an Indians leadoff man. And it followed with Michael Brantley going deep.
Say only the 6th time that has happened.
I've lost track, man. There's so
I know the numbers are starting to fly
now. That is the 8th back-to-back home run.
Yeah, this year, but I'm saying to start the game 6 times. I thought Mike said. That is, yeah, that is correct. Yeah, the numbers are all over the place.
The Indians have done that to start a game with back-to-back homers. Fouls a fastball right back. Brantley already the 20th Indians batter to hit in this game.
This is one of those games of those Tigers defenders. They've been out there and there's not a whole lot they can do.
Well, you figure this game's an hour old. And they've been out in the field almost the entire time.
I'd say close to 50 minutes. Make that 44.
Like you said, close to 50 minutes.
Round it up.
Here's the 2-2. Up and away, full count.
I think it might have been a changeup there he tried to throw. Well, they'll be off and running. And I would think you're going to have to throw Michael a strike here. He's not going to go outside the zone, you wouldn't think.
Back out of play. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out, second inning. The Indians with 6 in the first, 5 more so far here in the second. The first 7 all reached safely in this inning. 5 of them consecutively by hits. Runners go, rip foul.
And that's what happens when you have to face Brantley. You'll foul him off. That's 40 pitches now in the second inning. Trying to get 3 outs for Tigers pitching.
Sandy Baez taking a long look in. Now he's ready. So is Brantley. The runners go, and a foul ball.
This is where you find out when you're a minor league pitcher how tough it is to get big league hitters out. You can get to 2 strikes. They don't chase a lot of bad pitches, and they can foul off a lot of pitches to really make you work hard to get an out. And that's what Brantley is doing right here. Michael homered in his first at bat. He walked in his second. He scored twice.
And this is the 9th pitch of the at bat. Again, the runners are off. And again, it's fouled back. Once again, the 3-2.
That was by accident there. He didn't really want to check that time, but he fouls off another one without even trying. Would have been ball 4. It looked like it was elevated out of the zone. Yes, but he still fouls it off.
Baez taking forever to get the pitch from McCann.
He ran out of pitches. He's trying to invent one now to get him out.
Now again he goes. It's down low, ball 4, and the bases are loaded once again. Second time Brantley has walked in the inning. Our great clip of the game from last night, back-to-back. Edwin Encarnacion and then Josh Donaldson. And I wondered aloud at the time when the last time those two may have gone back-to-back from their days in Toronto. Turns out never. They had never homered back-to-back as Blue Jays, presumably because of the way the lineup was situated.
But I do think they homered 13 times in games in the same game.
Jose Ramirez taking a fastball for a strike. He doubled in a run earlier this inning. He singled and scored in the first.
And I like that double from the right side of the plate where he took it the other way and stayed on it nicely.
Picked up his 100th run batted in earlier this inning.
It sounds strange, but you're right. It's still only the second inning.
Sandy Baez delivers, and Jose pops it up. Cosma, the shortstop, calling for it, makes the catch. The inning is over. And the Indians have turned this one into a rout early, 11-0. Game for our Miller Lite hold true moment. If you picked us up late, just a reminder, the Indians' magic number is 1. They win, they clinch the Central Division crown, and they're up 11-0 going to the third inning. Bottom third of the order for the Tigers. And Jacoby Jones takes a little low ball one.
Yeah, right now Clevenger's been sitting so long between the first 2 innings. I wonder if he even went up in the tunnel and tried to throw in the hitting cages just to stay loose or go up and at least stretch. He has had to sit down for quite some time. I mean, I know he's glad the runs are there, but now it's a matter of getting back into your rhythm.
Mark Wagner apparently called that pitch low. Mike Clevenger trying to ask where it was. Not sure he got a response. 2-2. Strike 3 called. He looked at a fastball right down the heart of the dish. First strikeout for Clevenger, 1 away. Injury report brought to you by the attorneys at Elk & Elk. David Wright going to be activated and make his debut on September the 29th.
Yep.
Hasn't played in big league games since 16.
Wants to play out so his kids can see him. His daughters get an opportunity to call it quits.
Kind of odd. Aaron Judge, he was activated, but he can't hit yet. So they put him in the outfield at the end of the game last night.
That is sort of strange. You can still hurt yourself that way, can't you? If you're dive for a ball or run into a wall.
Maybe he was told don't do either of those things.
That could probably, yeah, but you could be told something, and
that's true.
It could still happen.
1-1 pitch. Ground ball. Kipner, or rather, Ramirez makes the play. 2 down. And that will bring up Pete Kozma. Well, the Yankees certainly have their hands full with the Oakland A's, and it's not that they're going to miss out on a wild card spot. But what if they don't get the home field advantage for that wild card game? It's a one-game deal. I mean,
right. And I think home field advantage plays a big deal in that one game. The Yankees had to do it last year. Of course, they were at home against Minnesota and moved on.
But right now, Oakland's breathing down their neck, and it's a big difference between playing at home and then hopping on a flight going all the way out to Oakland.
Yeah, game and a half behind them right now.
Broken bat liner right at Lindor. Middle of the third. Cleveland 11. Detroit nothing.
I mean, the jet skis down there at the bottom. Look, that looked pretty nice, doesn't it?
And by the way, aerial coverage provided today by Goodyear, leading the way with tires that deliver superior performance in clutch situations. Goodyear, more driven.
They could not have picked a better day to come to downtown Cleveland.
Edwin Encarnacion leading off the bottom of the third. He has scored 2 runs. He has driven in 1. Sandy Baez having a tough time just throwing strikes. He's made 25 pitches, 13 strikes, 12 balls.
And that's usually what you get from young pitchers coming up, you know, from Double-A. Like we said, it's all a matter about command, control. They have good arms. They can maybe rush it up there, but it's a matter of commanding it.
And the young man just looks flustered right now.
Well, when you face a guy, you come in and Michael Brantley, and it's a 10 or 11 pitch at bat, and he fouls off about 7 pitches. You can't put him away. That doesn't do much for your confidence.
And that's ball 4. And now Baez has a disbelieving look for Mark Wegner.
Well, bring the family down to the ballpark tomorrow for KeyBank Kids Fun Day. Enjoy $2 soda, freeze pops, chips, and nachos while supplies last. After the game, stick around. The kids get a chance to run the bases for the last time on Sunday. Because next Sunday, it'll be a Sunday night game.
That is correct. Yonder Alonso. He takes it outside. Ball 1. And Yonder mashes one high and deep. Castellanos at the wall. It is gone to Souvenir City. A 2-run homer for Alonso, and it's now 13-0. Home run number 23 for Alonso. RBIs number 78 and 79.
Well, I bet that pitch is upstairs. It certainly was. He likes the ball up. It's elevated a little bit, and it's going to get over the head of Castellanos, just on top of that pad above. Bounces into the seats for the Indians' 3rd home run of the day.
And Melky Cabrera already 2 for 2, an RBI and a run scored. And Sandy Baez burns a fastball right down the heart of the plate. Missed outside. That was the first hit allowed by Baez, though, since he's come into the game.
Everybody in this lineup has driven in a run today.
Nice play at third by Candelario to steal a hit away from Melky. Another look at the Yonder Alonso home run.
5.5 seconds. Now the wind is blowing in a little bit, so it's going to hold that ball up just a bit, but it got out of here. 5.5 seconds on the hang time.
Yandy Diaz picked up an RBI and a fielder's choice in the 1st inning, and then he singled in the 2nd inning. Diaz tries the hole between 3rd and short. Cosma with a spectacular throw.
Really?
Boy, oh boy, what range.
Nice play.
2 down.
They had to go to the backhand side. Watch him. 1, 2, 3, 4. He took about a half a dozen steps, and then all of a sudden he gets rid of it. Very accurate throw and a lot on it. Very good play.
And so with 2 down, Jason Kipnis to the plate. Kipnis the only starter without a hit so far for the Indians, but he drove in a run in the 1st and then a run in the 2nd. A sac fly in the 1st and then hit by a pitch with the bases loaded to force in a run in the 2nd inning. If Kipnis gets aboard, the Indians will have gone through the order 3 times in 3 innings. A bit outside, 1-2.
Oh, how about that coming into your living room?
Upstairs, it stays 1-2. Got drilled on a 1-2 pitch.
It's the second time he's had to wear it. That one hurt. The first time was on the elbow, and you might be able to handle it because you ended up getting an RBI. This time, no.
That was a 4-seamer.
Yeah, right in the middle of the back, it looked like. Where'd he get it? Oh, right in the hip, above the back pocket. So he's been on all 3 times tonight. Well, I shouldn't say that. A sacrifice fly the first time up and then hit twice, and then here comes Ron Gardenhire, and he's going to make another move.
And so the Indians will go through the order 3 times in 3 innings here this afternoon. We'll be back with a new Tigers pitcher right after this. Saturday, but families affected by Hurricane Florence urgently need your support. You can help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to those families by donating today. You can go to redcross.org or text the word Florence to 90999. That'll set you up for a $10 donation to the American Red Cross Hurricane Relief. And that's going to be a relief effort that will be going on for quite some time. Zach Reininger, the new pitcher for the Tigers, right-hander, on to face Roberto Perez with a runner at first and 2 out in the 3rd, and the Indians up 13-0. Fastball up and in. Perez, an RBI single in the 1st. He drove in a run with a sacrifice fly in the 2nd. And he represents the full turnover of the lineup for the 3rd time.
27 hitters to the plate in the first 3 innings.
I don't know that I've seen that before.
It's hard to remember, but it's a rarity. The first 26 batters, they have 11 hits, 3 walks, 2 hit by pitches. So 16 out of the 26 have reached safely. And those Tiger defenders out there, they're just standing around. They're kicking the dirt. They want to get out of here. That's one where you say, my goodness, please just hit it at one of us. We'll try to catch it.
Or you start exhorting your pitcher, hey, just throw strike, throw it over the plate.
Yeah, it's one of those games that, yes, when you're on the Tiger side of it, let's get this over with. Hurry.
Three-one pitch, and Roberto pops it up on the infield. Let's see, the first baseman Adducci and the catcher McCann makes the play to end the inning. 2 more for the Tribe. 13-0. We go to the 4th. As we go to the 4th inning, we welcome Jensen Lewis into the booth. Boy, you know, for Mike Clevenger, this is a dream come true. I mean, you get this much run. The hardest thing, what do you do as a pitcher when you've had to spend close to an hour just sitting around waiting to pitch?
He's probably been down in the batting cage, no question, throwing a little bit just to try and stay with the tempo of the game. But that's hard, too, especially you know, you make a pitching change, you feel like you're getting to the end of the inning and kind of top it off here and then make your warm-up pitches on the mound. But I'll tell you what's helping him now, Rick, is you got the shadows creeping in, so it's not going to be real easy to try and mount a comeback.
It's that time of year, and it's the start time, 3 o'clock.
Jeimer Candelario, he led off the game with a walk and then was promptly picked off at first base by Clevenger. Nobody has reached since then. Mike Clevenger has struck out 1. And the battle cry for every hitter, Arch, is don't give away at bats, right? We always say just don't give away. Go up there, put a quality at bat together.
Today may be different.
It's September 15th. It's September 15th. You're staring at you know, almost 90 losses on the year, and it's 13-0.
No,
you're looking for something that you see and you can swing
get it around the plate. If I can get the bat to it, I'm going to swing it.
There's a liner foul.
Like I said, they would. I mean, you see them standing out there on defense. They want to get it over with. Period.
That first inning kind of gave you a little window into
that first inning.
It just seemed like these guys can, and everybody has a bad day, but to have a collective bad day right there, play after play, boy, that's really tough on your pitcher. But you feel bad for Hall. I mean, You know, Fulmer, 2 hitters, the knee issue, he comes out of the game to make your debut. Okay, and you could see the scattering going on up there. They knew as soon as the trainer went out, trying to fire, trying to get yourself ready. This kid doesn't know what he's going to do, and he just tried to make the most of it.
And he ran into a buzzsaw today. Let's go down to Andre.
Well, a couple of starts ago, I told you about Mike Clevenger making some mechanical changes about mid-season, about 5-6 starts ago, and he's taken off. And in talking to Carl Willis about it, and I'll be interested to see what Jensen says about this. Mechanically, they were just basically focusing on his legs because they want him to stay stronger, longer into the season. And remember, 200 innings was his goal. And Carl told him, if you want to get through 200 innings, you're going to have to use more than just your arms and upper body. What's happened with this, guys, is his mile per hour's ticked up a little bit, and he's got better spin on his slider and curve. And Carl thinks this may not only help him this season, but this may help him further down his career because he's using his legs more than he's ever done before.
And you drive with the lower half, don't you?
And I think it's more staying back over the rubber. You'll hear a lot of youth coaches say, hey, stay over the rubber, spend time over the rubber. You translate that to kind of the major leagues here, and where Carl, I think, probably saw something in a lot of this you can take out of location. If guys are up in the zone, you're either leaking with the front side or what we call rushing to the plate. So your body is beating your arm to a point where you can release and stay on top of the baseball. So breaking ball can kind of spin, fastball can be flat, and that's where you can get into pitches like that too.
Yeah,
that one ate
you don't
up.
Want you don't want a piece of that ball. I'll tell you that. That's a base knock, no matter. Well, anytime you look at Clev's a hyper guy, and I understand when you say he can rush, he can get ahead of himself, and his arm can't catch up. And he makes some pitches at times that are, to me, wasted pitches. You know, when he gets ahead in the count. But boy, if he can stay back there, he's had a great year, and he has a really good chance of getting 200 innings.
Yeah, you talk about hyper and maybe just a tick fast with your tempo to the plate. That can create an issue, Matty, where from a location standpoint, it may only be a ½ inch as far as the distance from where you are to being balanced over the rubber, or maybe just a bit in front. And that little inch right there is going to cause you to either be under the ball or on the side of the ball instead of being able to be on top. You can tell by his breaking ball. And it's got that fastball speed, and it's right off the top, just like that.
And when you slow it down, that's when you get the better spin rate.
Sometimes we'll watch a hitter be maybe fooled by the pitch, or maybe his timing's just off. And he's out on the front side, but he's able to keep his hands back, and he can still work his hands and get a hit. For a pitcher, if your timing's off, if you're rushing your delivery, is there any way to compensate for that, or is it just, uh-oh, we're in trouble here?
Each guy to their own, Matty, and a lot of it is, hey, when you go to a 2-0 count, okay, step off the mound, kind of go behind yourself, take a deep breath. That's the natural way to slow yourself down. What you try not to do is think about too many things out there. We call it a click spot. There's something for each guy where he can go back to in his mechanics and say, all right, if I try and take my left knee to my right armpit, that's going to keep me closed. That's going to keep me back. Sometimes it's, all right, I need to take a deep breath before I go into my mechanics, and that will keep me back just long enough to deliver a quality pitch.
Yeah, those little.
But you have to be your own coach. Yeah, I mean, your own. When you get to the big leagues, I mean, people can watch you and tell you, but you have to, the sooner you find it, the better you are as a pitcher.
And to Andre's point, too, where Carl, I think, probably got to him and said, here's one thing. If you want to take it, here's kind of what we're seeing from the outside. You know your body better than anybody. See if you can work this into your bullpens and see if it makes a difference.
2-2. A little high, full count. Nick Castellanos fly to right in the first. He's had a very good year. We talked about it last night with everything that has changed around him, with Miguel Cabrera being lost to the disabled list and various trades. Victor Martinez announcing this will be his final season. He's the last man standing in that Tiger lineup. The 3-2. And it just missed inside, ball 4. So 2 on with 1 out.
Second walk for Cleve. He walked the leadoff man today, ended up picking him off.
And we're going to get a pinch hitter for Victor Martinez as Jared Saltalamacchia will come to the plate.
This guy put me into retirement 4 for 4, 2 homers. Remember him easy. You get hitters, Matty.
You don't forget those.
No, you don't. You talk about Victor in this lineup with Miggy and having obviously the 1-2 punch. Those lineups too, even when they had Cespedes in there, it was murderer's row. Now's a situation too, and kind of what you were alluding to, Matt, where you get to a point of the ball game. All right, game is in hand. Clevenger has been down for a while, and now you get into an inning where some control has kind of left you a little bit. This is where you kind of try and dial it back in, down in the zone, try and get yourself a ground ball.
Saltalamacchia, meanwhile, coming in cold right off the bench.
How about Cleve today, though, picking off his 6th runner at first base? For a right-hander, that's pretty impressive, isn't it? Quick feet.
You know, in Arch, as a base runner, you try and pick out things from a pitcher that you can key off of. For him, the hyperness of his delivery, it helps be deceptive with his move. He can give you the B move, and then he can really be quick with the feet. That's that skateboarding part of it too, where he's able to move himself. And I know it. A lot of people may not translate that are listening, but when you think about it, you're on that board and you're trying to maneuver with it. You've got to have great balance. And what he does really well, he gains ground to first base. So he cuts down the distance. It's real quick from the ear to be able to deliver the ball. It's impressive. Great part of his game.
And the key, Candelaria in that situation, he wasn't even running on the play. You know, you go back to that. We'll get a look at it right here. Watch, he's not trying to run. He's not leaning that way.
That's
He's going back. I know it. I mean, that should never happen leading off the game. That could change, who knows, change the inning a little bit at least, you know.
Well, the control has been an issue, though. 3-1. And there's another walk, and they're loaded.
You guys talk about that pickoff in the first inning, and then you have Lindor hit the leadoff home run. How many times have we talked to Tito where he talks about things that happen early in a game can change momentum? And Matt, you've talked about how this team has played so well in the first inning when they win. And those are little things that I'm sure when we talk to Tito after the game, he'll say those are the pick-me-ups that this team needs early sometimes to get into the rhythm.
Andre, it's easy to sit back now and say, oh, well, you know, they scored 13 runs, and that pickoff wouldn't have mattered. You just don't know if he. What if Candelario steals a base and then Stewart punches one in and Castellanos hits a bomb and it's 3-0? That changes everything. You just never know how one play dramatically affects the impact in a ball game.
Exactly. We got, you know, Tito was talking about that with Lindor leading off when we were down in Tampa, how he's not asking him to get a hit. Just sometimes if he can give a good at bat, it just changes the energy of these players.
Yeah.
And I think that pickoff is just as much the same thing as that.
I think that, as I said to Rick at the time, you know, asking if it had ever happened to him, and he said no, being the true pro that he is. but my point was, if that happens to you, you want to crawl back into the dugout, because not only are you embarrassed, but you just suck the life out of your team. A potential rally is now gone.
Yeah, and it just shifts just like that.
I said I didn't recall. I didn't say no.
Yandy Diaz near the tarp, can't get quite into the seats.
Because if I said
Cotton Candy Man was in the way.
If I said no, I know Tommy would be up there looking at it.
Yes,
yeah,
he would.
He'd be digging in the archives, so I know they could dig that up, and I probably have been.
You think ahead too, and put yourself in an October scenario there, where let's say it's against Houston, you walk Springer,
right,
and you can pick him off, especially if that game is a meaningful one there, where you need some momentum to start out well. But Matty, that's kind of what you talked about too. You give up a lead there. Does the complexion of the first inning completely change? Absolutely. It may not be a 6 spot for the Tribe.
Yeah. Adducey fouls one back, and count 0-2.
Well, the Indians are a different team when they get the lead early. Totally different team.
Your 2-inning stat?
Yeah.
I mean,
they're 25 and
right
9 or something like that after 2 at home.
And they're, you know, they are a feeding frenzy offense. When they start to get rolling, they can put those crooked 5s on you, 6 spot. And
yeah, they have more hits today with runners in scoring position than they did their last 6 games. They were 5 for 55.
Here's the 0-2 from Clevenger, and it's outside.
Well, he's got a situation here where he can work now ahead of the hitter, looking for a ground ball if you get it. If not, go for a punch out.
And it's tough to see right now. And you can kind of use that to your advantage if you're Clev. That ball's going to come right into the sun just as it's getting to home plate.
You know, a lot of times his go-to pitch is a changeup, but he gets the strikeout.
The old swing and miss pitch got him that time. Second strikeout for Clevenger. 2 down in the inning.
It is a breaking ball, and normally his go-to pitch a lot of times will be that changeup. But that time it was a breaking ball.
He got on the side of it a little bit. You see the hump just right there. A little dime spin out in front, but gets away with one a little bit elevated. But you'll take that, and maybe a little bit of being wild in the zone plays to his favor. But now you're one pitch away from getting out of potential big inning.
James McCann, a tapper right back to the mound, his only time up. Swings at a breaking ball low and away.
Yeah, he had him swinging at breaking balls in his last at bat. He had an easy grounder back to him. Caught it off to the side.
Now, you talk about momentum from a pickoff. That momentum from that strike 3 swinging to get to 2 outs could be the momentum Clev needs to kind of get back in control.
Yeah. Yeah, he was cruising along with no issues whatsoever, but a couple of walks, load up the bases. Not that he's in danger, but he wants to try to get a little deeper into this game. Give that bullpen a little bit of a respite. They had to pick up 5 innings of work last night. Bases loaded, 2 down, 0-2 pitch. And he struck him out. Back-to-back Ks for Clevenger. We move to the bottom of the 4th. 13-0 Cleveland. Games among American leaguers. Francisco Lindor, 55 of them. Nick Castellanos of the Tigers has 50.
Well, change it. Put it to 56. He's going to get one here. He usually does. He hasn't had one in 2 at-bats.
4th inning. It's his 4th at-bat.
How about that? See, Castellanos, he's had a nice year for them offensively. He really has, and that's hard to do.
It's been trouble translating to the outfield defensively.
Sure it has.
I mean, that's a tough, that might be arguably the toughest thing to do, third to right. When we saw Chisenhall, it took him a long while to be able to get comfortable out there as well.
Mikey Matuk takes over in right field. Speaking of Castellanos.
Yeah, he needs a break. He needs some time off. And
they ran him ragged
Skipper
early.
knows it.
They really
he
did.
ran himself ragged early.
Tough crowd. Here's Lindor now taking. It's a strike. 0-2.
Usually is in September.
Either that or they had the perfect in between on every one of those singles. I mean, he could not judge it one way or the other. That was tough.
You're very kind.
Down in the dirt.
And now if you're Hall, the guy who made his major league debut, man, you got some Ernies on your record.
Yeah,
now.
well, you don't worry about it. I mean, that's something he'll never forget. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, how about that, though, for your major league debut?
Oh.
You come in there and you give up a hit. Okay, it's Jose Ramirez. You know, he's in the MVP talk.
Sure.
Then the next two guys, your infielders boot back-to-back
Right.
balls. You're thinking, am I in the big leagues or am I back in Erie?
Well, you know, he gave up 4 runs in that inning. 3 of them were unearned because of the errors. They gave him 5 outs in the inning, so that didn't get him off to a good start.
No.
It's the way the errors happen, though. I mean, you know, you've been around long enough. You see clean defensive play behind you, and then you get to this level and expect some premium defense.
And both of them really should have been made.
Lindor pops one foul.
That'll be in the seats.
Play.
The nice thing you take out of this early offensive onslaught, Ramirez's at bats to me. That stands out for a guy that really needed, you know, maybe a jolt. He looks pretty comfortable up there.
Well, I like the double going the other way. You know, you don't see him going the other way too often.
You were talking about the movement in his body. I know for a while there, and when he was really rolling, everything quiet. He was real compact.
And he stayed behind everything. Yeah, and once you get outside, it's the exact same thing you're talking about as a pitcher. As he goes forward and he can't catch up, your arms go, your bat slows down. And he's been popping up a lot of pitches and not hitting line drives. When he's on and his game and his little lift of the foot and put it down, he hasn't been in rhythm for a long time, for about a month.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
And that's what the pitchers try to do, mess with the rhythm or the timing of a hitter, keep him off balance, keep it off the barrel of the bat. You can do that to these two guys, to Lindor and to Ramirez, then you're really doing something and you can control this offense.
Little topper right back to the mound. Reininger flips to first, 1 away. All right, here's Jose Ramirez so far today. First at bat,
See him stay back.
The middle.
He stayed back and went right up the middle. You don't see him do that often. And that time, that's your starting point. Stay right there. Everything else will come back because they're going to have to pitch you differently now. And then that's when you can get into your long ball swings. And I think once you prove to a pitcher you can go the other way, that's when they have to pitch you differently. And this guy never gets out of whack, huh?
Know it all too well.
I mean, he just, that same approach. He doesn't try to pull. He doesn't get, he hits it where it's pitched. He's a great 2-strike hitter.
Matty,
and that's why he never has a slump.
Yeah. Matty, you said it last night, too, about.
There's a liner to right. Another hit for Michael.
On cue, Arch. Oh boy. Well, Matty, you were saying last night, and as you were tossing us for the post game, where in the bigger picture here, as we'll take a look at Brantley coming up, I mean, you hit it right on the head, Arch. Just nice, quiet, foot down, great swing, beautiful. But that fan sometimes can overlook a couple of weeks and say, okay, we're in panic mode because one of our best hitters is going into a slump. But then you look at the last 2 or 3 weeks that they're going to have here. And yes, they got a great shot to wrap up the division today, but then getting that mindset, they're so veteran now that they understand and respect the length of the season, that they're not going to panic themselves.
There you go.
There's another swat to deep center, and it's over the head of Jones and crushes the wall. He looks like he's hurt. He flips it back into the infield. Brantley's going to score, and Ramirez is into third with an RBI triple. And now we'll wait and see how Jones is feeling.
Yeah, he kissed that center field wall, and I mean, he knew he got glove on it, and it looks like the shoulder. He went directly into the wall, and that ball was smoked. A line drive from Jose, and boom, he had to turn around. He luckily had enough balance to turn that shoulder, or he would have went face first into that wall. That was a tough play with the sun out there. And there's a line drive. He got a pitch away, and he just stayed straight away center. Watch, he was just lucky to get that turn in. Right over the outstretched glove.
Not as bad as Brett Phillips from the Royals the other night.
Remember that?
Yes.
Yes.
That's an awkward angle that Jones goes into the wall. Good to see him upright, though, because, man, oh, man. Full tilt right into that. Yikes.
So here's Edwin. And a foul ball left side. 14-0. And Jose Ramirez is looking more and more like the Jose Ramirez we have seen most of this year.
Oh, now he's a homer from the cycle.
You can get it right in order, too. Single in the first, RBI double in the second, RBI triple here.
It'd be nice to see, but I just want to see him get another hit and a line drive and a good approach.
Yeah.
That was his, what was that, his 4th triple? Yeah.
Tell you what, watching Edwin, it is remarkable to see how he can go through with the subpar average for his career-wise. But the at-bats remain consistent moving into the latter stages of this season. He is a great guy to watch as far as, okay, he might be too far out in front early in the season. He's trying to do too much, but it's like something inside of him says, all right, let's dial it back a little bit. Let's start to shorten up. And then as the weather warms up, man, oh man, it just seems like the second half, he really is able to take off.
He sets pitchers up, you know, that you think, okay, he's not catching up to my fastball, and then you'll throw a good one, and he'll smoke it.
He just blistered one right through the shift. 15-0. Edwin's second run batted in on the afternoon, and now he's sitting on 99 RBI.
Well, he caught a breaking ball, and he sits on breaking balls, I think, almost all the time. And look at that one. That one was above. That was letter high, and he still drives it in between the second baseman and shortstop and gets it through the shift.
You know what's been impressive for me about Edwin is the guy never seems to. Now last year he had a couple of spells where he was really smoking hot
with the long ball.
But this year he's never had one of those stretches where 10-12 games is like, look out, don't pitch to Edwin. He's just steady, methodical, and the next thing you know, you look up.
Steady Eddie, there he is.
He's 30 and 100, and it's just that's impressive because I think maybe it has something to do, Rick, with young players versus veteran players. Maybe young players need those streaks to get them to those plateaus, whereas the veteran guy knows if I just put up my quality ABs every day, by the end of the year, those numbers are going to pile up.
7 straight years, 30 and 90. 30 dingers, 90 ribbies.
Alonso into center field. That's falling, and it's in.
I'm telling you, everything is going the Indians' way.
Edwin hurt himself going into second base. That's the last thing you want to see.
Hobbling is right.
It was second base last year in the division series that cost him the rest of that postseason. James Quinlan, head athletic trainer, out to check on him.
I didn't see it. What happened? Was he just pulling up and trying to stop, or what? I did not see anything.
I don't know. I looked down and I couldn't tell if he twisted it going over the bag. But he's coming out of the game. I think he said he was okay.
Let's see.
But they're taking him out for precautionary reasons.
Might have twisted his ankle. He wasn't watching where he was running, and he might have twisted his ankle on top of the bag.
That's what it looked like.
Top, yes, exactly what happened. He got a little twist in that ankle because he was looking at the guy if he was going to catch it.
And he's afraid. He's watching Edwin.
He saw it, yeah. Yeah, he saw it going into second base. So he twisted it a little bit. Didn't look like he really rolled over on it a little bit.
You see him give that little nod there. I think he's okay, and this is just, hey, let's just
not try. Oh, yeah, he's had enough.
You remember last year when he went into second, and it was almost a full 90-degree turn.
That's when he rolled it.
And they had to help him even put pressure on it. So good to see him giving that sign of positivity there, Matty, no question.
Yeah, let's see who's got to come in and run. It looks like Raj Davis.
Yeah, you go in there, you get some ice on it. You'll sure get some pictures just to see. Reyes is going into center field, I see.
Yeah, Jacoby Jones, he smoked that wall in center field. I was surprised that he waved everybody off and said, no, I'm okay. as he was gritting his teeth, but they take him out probably for the same reason. Let's just make sure. So Victor Reyes comes in defensively.
Wow, 4th inning, 15 runs on 15 hits.
2 hours in.
Man, oh man. Melky Cabrera to first. They go to second. There's one. And they do not turn the double play. It was close. Rajay Davis moves to third. Jacoby Jones he came all in on the dive here. And then
his arm rolled up a little bit.
Yeah, he landed on his right arm after he hit that shoulder into the wall.
Yeah, that probably re-aggravated.
Absolutely.
Stinger.
He's diving for it, man. It was a 14-0 game, but he's crazy.
You got guys trying to win spots, man.
Yeah, but he's been around. He's been there all year.
That's the thing about these last couple of weeks with at least the Central Division teams, which we know are playing for the next year and beyond. The young guys that
rebuilding,
not taking any at bats, Matty, like you talked about, off, not taking any defensive plays off. That's hard to do, especially with this score too, because I mean, it's human nature. Things have kind of been decided at this point, but to still put that effort out there. And now you got it on the same side for the Indians. I mean, Yandy Diaz, perfect example here. You take advantage, you keep playing up, you keep forcing Terry Francona's hand.
Swinging a foul, got a piece of it. 1-2.
This might be the month of the year, guys, where you look earlier in the season and say, okay, if you're going to run it up 16, 20 runs, you have kind of those days here and there. This is where young players they're trying to take advantage of opportunities. This isn't trying to rub it in or anything like that.
Struck him out. That'll end the inning. 2 more for the Indians. 15-0 as we go to the 5th. Sorrento, the perfect getaway vehicle. Visit KiaDealers.com to learn more. Buy Levin Furniture. For the best deals on furniture and mattresses, shop Levin's. And buy your Chevy Network dealers. Visit ClickChevy.com. Chevrolet, find new roads. Back here at Progressive Field, fans enjoying a great day at the yard. New right fielder Greg Allen takes over for Melky Cabrera. Mike Clevenger goes back to work, and he called that low, ball 1.
Have some
it's
feel.
15-0.
Well, yeah, I know. You got to expand it both ways, you would think.
Victor Reyes pops one up, shallow left. Lindor squeezes it, one away. T-Mobile, built for baseball. Let's go back to 2007. Rafael Betancourt wrapping up the Central Division title. Victor Martinez behind the plate. Mr. and Mrs. Dolan on hand to enjoy it. That team was so much fun to cover and be around because, you know, the 05 team was close. You saw a lot of things trending in the right direction. They were just a made 3 bricks shy of a load maybe. Then 06 was a big step backward, disappointing, and then 07, kaboom.
Yeah,
exploded.
We had some obstacles to overcome because these Detroit Tigers with Verlander out there, he was having a sensational season. That big series, the big sweep here at Progressive Field, that really put the nail in the coffin, and off we were to the postseason.
Yeah, and I think too, you know, Jensen, we were talking earlier about momentum and, you know, how fickle it can be, how important it is. You can't predict it, right? But opening day, Chicago. J-Mike staggering on the warning track with snow flurries flying, and he catches the ball falling down. Joe Borowski gets the save. Everybody leaves with a great feeling, and that's kind of the way that season went. Maybe it wasn't always pretty, but the job was done.
Yeah, and you feel a couple of moments, especially early that year when A-Rod walked off at Yankee Stadium, the sweep there, that it was a low point. Then even after the All-Star break, when
where did we go from there? Tampa after the New York series? Sweep? Yeah.
That was right, yeah. And then after the All-Star break, a couple of series, especially on the road, where we had to come together. Remember the Texas series where we kind of got everybody in the room, and Casey Blake stood up and said what he needed to say. Trot Nixon stood up, said what he needed to say, and there's a lot of talent in this room. There's a lot of potential. We got a lot of guys that are playing really well. Now let's just unify it. Let's put it all together.
Yeah, Trot Nixon was one of those guys that
he was the leader,
but he didn't play a big role on that team, and yet he was the unquestioned leader.
Just had a few of those starts in the second half in right field, but man, you had something you needed, you went to him. He was the guy, the end-all be-all for sure.
Strike 3 call. Mike Clevenger roars back here in the 5th, sets him down 1-2-3. And we move on, 15-0 Cleveland.
Field, the final sign Sunday of the 2018 regular season. Come out before the game and make your sign. Bring your own sign or make one with us, and you could have a chance to be on our Indians live telecast. All coming up tomorrow afternoon. Final one of the year. I'm sure Al will do all kinds of creativity to get ready. And
do you guys make one every day or every week?
We're going to make one every Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to try and get Andre in on it next year.
That would be nice.
See what creativity Dr. Knott can bring to it.
Well, he may have to show his sign later on at night.
Hey,
hey, what's up, Andre? Oh, you still here?
I'll let Taz take care of it since you
Oh.
Taz will be all over that. He might try to sit on Jensen's lap.
Ain't Christmas yet, pal.
Buck Farmer's the new Tigers pitcher. 5th of the afternoon for Detroit. Jason Kipnis leading off. Kipnis has had a rough day. Picked up an RBI in the first inning with a sac fly. Then he was hit by a pitch that forced home run. Then he was hit again in the 3rd.
Not going to say it was intentional.
It sure smelled like it.
But 2 strikes, 2 outs. I thought Ron Gardenhire came right out, and I don't know if he said anything to who was that? Baez that was out there. So, but hey, listen here, young kid. We don't do that up here.
Well, it almost looked like when Jason was hit with the bases loaded, Gardenhire went out maybe to argue with the umpire that he didn't feel like he made enough of an effort to get
on
out
the
of
first
the way.
hit by pitch. Okay.
And maybe he felt like that was rubbing it in. Who knows? But hey, you know, sometimes if something needs to be done, you do it and you move on. And if that's the case, then I'm happy the way everybody handled it the way they did. You move on. It's over. It's done. Instead of all the histrionics and the pointing, and then the umpires have to get involved, and then you end up with suspensions and appeals, and it spins out of the control of the players.
As long as the players are handling it,
exactly,
it usually ends up the right way.
Ripped fair, and now Jason Kipnis has his hit. That's going to go up into the seats, and he'll be awarded second base. So
there you go, Kip.
A double for Jason Kipnis as he joins the parade.
There you go. If they want to hit you next time up, do that.
And he's going to be taken out of the game now for a pinch runner as Brandon Barnes will come on and run for him.
He got a nice fastball in the inner part of the plate and turned on it beautifully. Once it gets by a Ducey, it gets up into the seats there.
What have you noticed besides the Kansas City Tourism magazine he was swinging in the hotel room?
He looks a little quicker. Where it's nice. He found something. Obviously, I don't know if it's in his hands exactly.
He looks quiet.
Yeah, he's quieter and he's staying behind the baseball, and I think he's getting down on the ball. He's hitting it. He's been very quick on the inside part of the plate. And he's been a little more patient. I think swinging at better strikes.
Roberto Perez, an RBI single and a sacrifice fly. Fouled out his last time up. Chop to third. Fair ball behind the bag. Candelario. Good throw. One down. Mid-game recap brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. This game began with a bang. Francisco Lindor, 8th time this year. He's led off the game with a home run. Next man up, Michael Brantley made it 2-0. And Yonder Alonso hit a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning. That made it 13-0. The Indians with 6 in the first, 5 in the second.
Well, and those 3 home runs put them over the 200 mark this year. They now have 201.
I still marvel at the ability that Lindor and Ramirez combined. More homers than Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah, and that was what was the talk all last offseason when they acquired Stanton. Those two, no telling how many they're going to hit.
Both going to hit 50,
right?
And over 100.
Over 100, right? It's funny how things happen.
Switch hitting too, when you're trying to pitch to guys and you know that they're going to have the advantage, at least, you know, from being able to see the ball out of your hand, because it's not going to feel like it's on top of you. These guys have developed consistent power to all fields from both sides of the plate. You know, it's not like you can turn them one way and say, all right, I feel better about them not being able to take a ball out of the ballpark. They have really proven throughout, last year being really the first time both of them did it, but this year for sure.
And it's not easy being a switch hitter. You know, usually you're better from one side of the plate than the other, but they're both very consistent from each side.
Francisco Lindor awaiting the 2-1 pitch. And a slow chopper back to the mound. It's kicked around. Farmer recovered in time, but then it's dropped at first.
Well, the one thing I marvel at is he still hustles down the line and with the score the way it is.
Absolutely.
You know, and he's still hustling down the line, and it end up you can get him out of here. But I mean, that's just flat out good hustle. You're the best player, and you can get down the line. And he may end up getting a base hit, but the play should have been made. Farmer booted it. Ducey, he had a chance to catch it. He didn't do it.
Eric Gonzalez will run for Lindor.
Error on the first baseman. Okay, that's his second today. That's their fourth on the afternoon for the Tigers.
So at the corners with one out for Michael Brantley.
They're hitting for the fifth time in the fifth inning.
It's been
Isn't
remarkable.
it crazy?
That's remarkable. I think probably the most ridiculous part about today, we're under 10 swing and misses combined from both sides.
Well, yeah,
with this amount of at-bats,
that was the first strikeout of the day for the Tribe. Those guys have been on their feet out there defensively for so long. They're feeling like the spikes are growing out of the bottom of their feet.
And especially in the sun too, Arch.
It's
At this
a
point
long
in the
day.
year, and at this point in the year too, all the miles build up.
Well, I'm sure that's a big reason why Matuk came on for Castellanos.
Right.
Reyes came on for Jones just because he was banged up in center field.
He certainly was.
By the way, we got word from the Indians clubhouse. Edwin Encarnacion, it is diagnosed as a mild right ankle sprain and taken out for precautionary reasons.
Okay.
So.
All right.
And a ground ball to second, backhanded there by Lugo to Cosma for one on to first. It's an inning-ending double play. 5 complete. 15-0 Cleveland. Tires that deliver superior performance in clutch situations. Goodyear, more driven. Well, the folks who have turned out here today have watched the Indians dominate Detroit. And we are going to the 6th inning with the Tribe on top 15-0, and wholesale changes now for the Indians. Brandon Guyer is the new left fielder. Greg Allen goes to center, and Brandon Barnes is your right fielder. Eric Gonzalez has now taken over at shortstop. Mike Clevenger with a first pitch strike to Jamer Candelario, who walked in the first, grounded out in the fourth. Clev's only given up 1 hit today, has struck out 4. He's
Yes,
walked
he did.
3. And the count is
He spent more
0-2.
time sitting on the bench than pitching on the mound.
And you would think he's probably expended more energy staying loose
Yeah,
than
right.
actually being
How
out
many
there.
times can you get yourself warm throughout the course of a game?
And to be honest, these are situations that are a lot more difficult than if you're in a 1-0 groove where you're
Yeah, you
battling
want to
the
get
other
back
guy.
out there. Let's go. Let
Yeah.
me put another 0 up there.
Swung on him, blew it right by him. 5 Ks for Clevenger. 1 down in the 6th. Time for a game break with Al Pulaski.
All right, Matt, Rick, Jensen, let's head out to St. Louis where the Dodgers scored 17 today. Yasiel Puig hit 3 home runs. That's a career high. Knocked in 7. That's a career high. He has 5 homers in the last 2 days. The Dodgers a laugher over the Cardinals today, 17-4. Dodgers getting hot. The Cardinals guys getting cold.
Yeah, that's right.
Dodgers have won 3 in a row. That was
They
a
jumped.
4-game
They
series.
jumped the Cardinals
Yeah.
now for second wild card spot. The Wild Horse is hot. 5 in 2 days.
What a nickname, the Wild Horse. But it is so true.
Yeah. Oh
Puig.
yeah.
Oh man, that fits.
Christian Stewart, 1 for 2 today. Pulls a foul. Rockies are out in San Francisco, so the Dodgers will watch that one tonight. Keep
Yes.
an eye on it. They could wake up in first place tomorrow.
Well, they'd be big Mad Bum fans tonight, that's for sure. But German Marquez has really been nice for Colorado last 4 or 5 starts.
Clevenger, bottom of the zone. That's a call that's been tough to get today.
And it hasn't changed. It stayed the same no matter what. There you go. There's the. They're tied right now.
Popped out of play.
But they won't be after tonight.
Arizona's bullpen has really been their undoing the past 2 weeks. Boxberger gets moved out of the closer's role. Archie Bradley, who was supposed to be this right-handed Andrew Miller that they were dubbing from last year, it's been tough. And then they've got Hirano, who's their sub-closer right now.
Things change throughout the course of the year, you know.
That division, though, when you thought about it at the beginning of the year and then you got to the All-Star break, there were 4 teams. I mean, the Giants were still hanging tough.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, they were.
Kind of like the National League Central.
That too.
Until the Pirates pulled the ripcord, they were right there making a bunch of moves at the deadline. But boy, the Cubs and the Brew Crew are locked in a duel, and St. Louis is. They're probably going to be a wild card team, I would think.
Well, they're behind the Dodgers now by a game after losing the last 2.
When you think about it too, Matty, whoever wins the Central could have the best record in the National League, and it may only be, you know, what, 93, 94 wins. I mean, that might be it.
Well, it's like, you know, I've heard this from people who have, and I'm sure they're big market people, Yankee fans, closet Yankee fans, etc., say, well, we need to redo the whole playoffs, you know, best records. And okay, the Central Division is down. No one disputes that. We all saw it coming, that it was going to be a bad year for the division. But at the end of the day, the Indians are still going to be around 90 wins at the end of the year. And they're going to go in with as good a chance to win it as anybody, because you've got good starting pitching, bullpen's rounded into shape, got impact bats. But the thing that drives me crazy is that ground ball, 2 down. I'll have to finish the thought when we come back. Clevenger breezes through the top half of the 6th. He has retired 8 straight, 15-0 Cleveland. kind of taking shots at the Indians. No one has pushed them all season long because the division is so bad. And it is hard to artificially kind of create a way to get yourself going, to push yourself. You try to do it from within, but if you don't have somebody really breathing down your neck, it's hard to go out there and say, boy, we got to really play hard these next 3 games. You know,
I'll tell you, if I'm A.J. Hinch and the Houston Astros trying to defend the World Series title and what they've had to do just to stay in first place with how well Oakland has played.
Right.
A.J. Hinch would say, after we had such a long postseason last year, I would trade places with Terry Francona and the Indians right now so I could set up my rotation, not have to worry about, oh, I got to still win my division so we're not in a 1-game playoff, and be able to rest my guys. They've had key injuries all year long. Springer, Altuve, and Correa, 3 of their big guys that got them to the championship last year, all have spent significant time on the DL last year.
Changed closers, made trades.
Yeah.
You know, they.
And they're no foregone conclusion with how well Oakland has played. So, Matty, it's a great point.
And I'm not defending that they haven't played poorly at times. The Indians, they've gone through some patches where they haven't played well. Recently, in fact, they've last 22 games, they're 9-13. They have not played well, but that's understandable too over the course of a long season.
It's a different season when you get to the playoffs. Everything you can throw out the regular season. It's like spring training going to the regular season.
Right. And what Jensen said earlier, this is no longer a young team going through it for the first time. They've been to the 7th game of the World Series. They got knocked out as the big favorite last year.
Right.
It's a little
after
different team
2-0 lead. Right.
Jose takes. How about that, Archie? You like that? You like it when he is patient, and even though he's sitting on a potential cycle if he hits a home run, he takes the walk.
Yeah, absolutely. To me,
and that'll be his final trip to the plate
that's
today.
Perfect. You want to see him get back to where he was, and I'm sure he will. There's still plenty of time. 15 games or 14 games left after today. So that's a great afternoon for him. A single, double, a triple. Got a couple of RBIs, scored 3 runs.
That's encouraging. I mean, it really is.
Yes, indeed. I agree.
We all loved the 22-game winning streak last year. But I think if you go to a man in there and just say, all right, would you have traded it all to say, all right, you win 5, you know, maybe 6 in a row, and you kind of find your way into the postseason where you've had a magical year, really, from a wins and losses standpoint. You wouldn't mind taking 85 W's. Let me win the right 11 games, and then we'll see you later.
Yeah. Well, everybody after that 22-game winning streak, because it ended just yesterday, you know, this late in the year, they already had them winning the World Series because they were so good, because of the 22-game winning streak, and they just dominated through that stretch, outscoring their opposition by 100 runs, and it was like nobody's going to have a chance to beat these guys. They're pitching well, they're hitting well, they're doing everything well, and they had a 2-0 lead on the Yankees.
Yeah, I mentioned before Zach Meisel's story, looking back, the journey of the 22-game win streak. A couple other things that jumped out at me in that story. One of them is that Frankie Lindor said, you know, I was talking to somebody from the A's, and they just had a 20th reunion.
Right.
Of the 20
team
gamer
that won the 20 game, and he thought, that's kind of cool. Maybe 20 years from now, I'll be coming back here for a reunion to celebrate what we did here in Cleveland. But he said at the end of the day, people only remember the teams that won the championship.
Yeah.
That, you know, this team, as great as it was for Cleveland and for us who covered it and for the players, but history will quickly forget about that moment. It'll be a footnote as opposed to,
Absolutely.
oh yeah, the team that won the World Series.
Yes, it will.
Yonder Alonso. 2-run homer, couple of singles, 3 runs scored. Left field, Stewart. 2 down. Well, it was 1 year ago yesterday. Jay Bruce.
Yeah, he knew it was a fair ball right off the bat against Kansas City.
And remember, he had the opportunity with bases loaded before a couple innings before.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
And he wanted, you could see it in his eyes, he wanted a chance for redemption. They got it there. And that was it.
I mean, you'll never see a run like that again. At least we won't. I won't in my time. You know, 22 games in a row to win remarkable stretch. And the year before that, they did 14. and it was like, are you kidding me? And that was a record.
Mike Chernoff, who also talked to Zach in that piece, he said, somewhere along the line in that stretch, he ran into Jay Bruce and said, "How's it going for you?" He said, "It's great. We never lose around here."
3 weeks.
Love it here.
I mean, think about that. He shows up, and it wasn't long after he showed up is when that thing started.
Yeah.
That was that point too, and I think you guys were in Tampa, where they were going through that stretch where they could not get a hit with runners in scoring position. You stuck him right in the middle, and it was like that new shot of blood that got you over the hump.
Yeah.
He really took some pressure off.
Oh, that's right.
And allowed the offense.
And they got it started against Chris Sale and the Red Sox.
Of all people.
And they blew him out.
Yes, they did.
You know, remember they rocked him and they took off. And that's after they had lost the first couple of games in that series.
Right.
And they never looked back.
And the unfortunate thing is at the end of the year, boy, I was like, gosh, I hope they can bring Jay Bruce back. I hope they can figure out a way to re-sign him. Didn't work out. He went to the Mets, and I'm thinking, it's a good thing they didn't re-sign Jay Bruce, because he's had a tough go.
Yeah,
he's had a really tough go.
Really hard year.
But how do you? I mean, that's why I give Chris and those guys so much credit. And not that they don't get lucky once in a while, but they do so much work in all the research that they pour into it that, you know, we react maybe more so from emotion. And they can't afford to do that. Greg Allen wants to get in on the act. He jolts one to right field, and Adam Rosales off and running, goes all the way to third.
Shocker, another 2-out hit from Greg Allen, Arch.
Yeah, well, that's true. He's been the man, you know, the second half of the year doing that, usually with runners in scoring position.
Matt, yeah, and with what Cherney and Antonetti have done to be able to separate the emotion, because listen, they're as involved as anybody, just along with the players. I mean, if they had a chance to be able to go out and try and alter a ball game to get a W, they would do that, obviously. But knowing that they have to take the time after the season to assess and be objective, that might be the hardest part of the job, to say we were this close. We won 22 in a row. We won over 100 games. On paper, this should have been it. We put all the pieces in the right spots. How did it not work out? Well, and then to have the sound judgment a couple of months later to say, you know what, here's the direction we're going to go.
You have a budget.
And sell it to the fans and say this is the right move.
Yandy Diaz with a fly ball to deep center field, but it's run down by Reyes, and that will end the inning. Jensen, we'll see you after the game.
You got it, boys.
No, I'll see you after the game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Baby Hulk's got his he's got his champagne goggles ready.
You got it.
BuyAToyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. By the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk. Proud partners of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. And by St. Mary of the Woods, a faith-oriented senior living community in the heart of Avon. $15-0, the Indians on top. Oliver Perez is the new pitcher for the Indians. He is only the second pitcher for the Indians today. Mike Clevenger went 6 one-hit shutout innings. Walked 3, struck out 5. And this sometimes is not the easiest game to pitch in when you got that kind of a lead, because you've spent so much time sitting on the bench waiting to go back out, take your turn. But he did a great job, and defensively the only starters that remain in the game for the Indians in their original positions: Yandy Diaz at third, Yonder Alonso at first. You've got Geyer, Allen, and Barnes left to right in the outfield. Diaz, Gonzalez, Rosales, and Alonso on the infield, and Eric Haas, the rookie, behind the plate. Saltalamacchia, fly ball to center, 1 away. Our Miller Lite hold true moment before the ball game. It was truly Miller time. Andrew Miller passing out coolers to all of his teammates and friends, stocked with their favorite tasty beverage. A little cornhole action too.
Oh,
why not?
Man, look at that. They're all set for the barbecues, the picnics, and everything else. Well, as many as he gave away, they had to bring it in a 18-wheeler, I would think. All those coolers and.
Oh, 1 pitch. Weakly grounded to short. Eric Gonzalez up with it. Throws him out, 2 down.
Start dead batteries with NOCO.
So Oliver Perez has retired the first 2 that he has faced. James McCann 0 for 2 will bat now. Missed inside, ball 1. Adam Simber up in the bullpen for the Indians. We're in the 7th, 15-0. The Indians scoring early and often here today. 6 in the first, 5 in the second, and 2 more in the 3rd and 4th innings.
Just ran a fastball on the inside corner there. Couldn't pull the trigger.
Swing and a miss. Oliver Perez strikes him out, and the Tigers go 1-2-3. Stretch time in Cleveland. 15-0 Cleveland Indians.
leaders. You can grab a $15 district ticket presented by Sportstime Ohio or a $15 KeyBank Kids ticket. It's available online only, so use the ballpark app or go to Indians.com. They will close out our home schedule Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
New pitcher for the Tigers is right-hander Lewis Coleman.
Coleman for the 47th time this year.
In between innings, the guys in the scoreboard room were kind of taking us back in time. They were playing the Macarena. I haven't heard that in a long time. Just as well, because I think I heard it enough in 1996 to last me a lifetime. But it reminded me of Carlos Baerga doing the Macarena dance or mimicking it, you know. You remember it was everywhere that summer.
Oh, sure. You remember the year 1996, huh?
Yeah. Brandon Barnes gets his first at bat of the day. Came on as a pinch runner in the 5th. Ground ball right to third. Candelario's throw is on the money. 1 down. Well, the series wraps up tomorrow afternoon. Shane Bieber will go for the Tribe. Francisco Lariano for the Tigers. Our coverage begins with Indians Live at 12:30. First pitch at 1 here on Sportstime Ohio or streaming on Fox Sports Go. And here is Eric Haas to the plate. There's Shane Bieber. We'll get the start tomorrow and wrap up the series. Eric Haas had himself a solid year production-wise. 20 homers, 71 runs batted in. Also had 24 doubles in 120 games at AAA Columbus. He was named to the mid-season All-Star team for the International League. Off to center. And Victor Reyes comes in to grab it. 2 down. I think it's a sign of maybe outfielders playing a little too deep when a number of times today these Tiger outfielders have been running like they were shot out of a cannon in on a ball, and they have a tough time getting to them.
Yeah, they play a little deeper. Well, you know, they get used to in their ballpark.
Product of their own park?
Yes, because they play a little deeper there. It's a big, spacious outfield. They feel a little more comfortable. But, you know, in center and right field today, and the wind's helping you a little bit. But the way the Indians were hitting the ball earlier in the game, they may push you back a little bit more. You know, they have 17 hits. A couple of them have fallen in front of the outfielders. They're 6 for 16 with runners in scoring position, and 12 for 27 with runners on base. So totally different than it's been going for the Tribe lately.
Bounced in there. Adam Simber will be coming on next to pitch for the Indians in the 8th inning. Lewis Coleman with a 2-2 pitch to Eric Gonzalez, and he drives one up the alley in left center field. That'll bang off the wall, and he'll head into second base with a 2-out double.
Third double of the day for the Indians. Put a nice swing on this pitch, and it hit the base of the wall. Gonzalez gets himself a double. For Gonzo, that'll be his 10th double of the year.
You know, this is one of those ones that is hard to figure out. Then again, there's a lot of things in baseball that are hard to figure out. So the last time the Indians had all 9 starters get a hit and a run batted in the same game. It's 1990.
Huh.
Not a team that you would go back. Oh yeah, I remember that great team. That was a team with yeah, I don't remember. Sandy Alomar was a
rookie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jerry Brown, Felix
Baerga,
Brooke Jacoby. I got to go back and look. Redbird gave me the date. I got to see who it was in that game, because it was at the end of the season, so it might have been a lot of the guys that we do know that were just getting their first taste
right
of big league ball. It was the second to last game of the season, and the starting lineup that day was Alex Cole, Jerry Brown, Chris James, Candy Maldonado, Sandy, Carlos Baerga, Jacoby, Jeff Manto, and Stan Jefferson.
Okay. Switch hitter.
It was against Kansas City. Hector Wagner lasted 2/3 of an inning in the start for the Royals. And then somebody else came in, Chris Cotaroli.
Yeah.
He didn't get an out. He gave up 3 runs. And it went from there. But interesting. Last time the Indians had all 9 starters get a hit and a run batted in.
Well, we saw something today where the first 2 guys in the lineup, Lindor and Brantley, had 5 plate appearances in the 5th inning.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I don't ever recall that happening.
They went all the way through the lineup twice in the first 2 innings of this game.
3 times in the first 3, didn't they? 27 hitters in the first 3 innings. They went 3 times through.
There's a bloop foul. Michael Brantley is done with Carlos Carrasco and his hijinks. Yeah, 3 times through the order. In
Michael just did the work that 25 other men want to do.
Yeah. The 3-2, and that's low ball 4.
Pitchers get bored when they have nothing to do in a long game.
Yeah, people say this is like a spring training game, except in a spring training game, these guys would all be gone for the day.
Right. They don't stay in the dugout. Exactly. Look, there'll be more gum that's wrapped all over that place than anything else.
There's the first pitch, strike to Adam Rosales. Rosales, 35 years old, spent the year at AAA Columbus. Swing and a miss. .20 pitches for Coleman. 12 of those strikes, 8 balls, and that's been a problem for the Tigers all day long. They have chewed up a lot of pitches. Rosales gets into one. The deep center. Back goes Reyes. Makes the catch. And we'll go to the 8th with the Indians in command.
This one, 15-0 Tribe, 8th inning here in Cleveland. Welcome back to center field, along with Jensen Lewis, Al Pulowski. Boy, the offense today, they just put this one out of reach in the very first inning.
Serious momentum changer. The leadoff walk, Clevenger picks off Candelario, and then the 6th spot put it all to bed very quickly.
Clevenger pretty darn good, too. Just one hit given up today.
Absolutely.
Make sure you join us after the game. We'll have the entire celebration. We'll go down to the clubhouse. We'll have it all on Indians Live, brought to you by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. Keep it with us for the rest of the evening. Matt and Rick, take it away.
Thank you, Al. Jensen, we'll see you guys shortly. Right now, here in the 8th inning, Adam Simber on to face Victor Reyes, Dawel Lugo, and Pete Cosmo, scheduled hitters. Tried to hold up, but he went around, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, that pitch started out a ball, and it remained all the way in, and he just he was going to go out and get it and try and hook it. Simber appearing for the 65th time this year, 23rd time with the Indians. He took the loss in last night's ball game.
Skewed foul, or cued foul, off the end of the bat. $26,532 turning out on a beautiful day to watch the Indians wrap up the Central Division Championship. They will be the first team to clinch a divisional crown in baseball this year. Out of play again. To left field, that's going to get down, and that'll be a base hit. Geyer holds him to a leadoff single.
Start dead batteries with NOCO.
So Victor Reyes is aboard. And Dawel Lugo 0 for 2 will bat with a runner aboard here in the 8th. That leadoff single by Reyes, just the second hit of the day for the Tigers.
Oh my goodness.
Simber will throw to first, and he just did get the out on Lugo. Reyes moves into scoring position with 1 out.
Stepping in now for the Tigers, number 33, Pete Pastime.
And a strike call. Just missed in off the plate. Pete Cosmo for 2. Broken bat liner in the 3rd. Called out on strikes in the 5th. Simber deals, slowly chopped. Diaz cuts it off and throws him out at first. 2 down.
Well, you can join us for Fan Appreciation Day. That'll take place Saturday. The Red Sox will be the last Sugardale Dollar Dog Night of the year. Come early for $2 beers at the pregame in the district. Stay after the game. Fireworks will be presented by T-Mobile. You can get your tickets at Indians.com or use the ballpark app.
With 2 down here in the 8th inning, Terry Francona will make a pitching change. Up 15-0. We'll be right back. Into the game, 66th appearance this year. The Indians' all-time saves leader will face Jeimer Candelario. Starts him off with a curveball inside, ball 1. Rip foul. In and out of the crowd. Little jam shot up the first baseline. Cody Allen beats him to the spot, tags him out. Inning over. Middle of the 8th. Indians up 15. And may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. What a day we've had here at Progressive Field. The Indians arrived at the ballpark with a magic number of 1. All they needed to do was win today to clinch the Central Division Championship. Before the game, they presented Victor Martinez with a plaque. It's actually a replica of home plate. And Terry Francona and Chris Antonetti addressed him on the field. Fans were able to salute him. And Martinez, who has announced that this will be his final season in baseball, got very emotional. He was choked up. He was crying on the field at the idea that this is where it all began for him, and this is in a sense where it will all come to an end. He got 1 at bat today, and then he was taken out of the game.
Yeah, really special moment for him, and rightfully so.
And then the Indians stormed the battlefield, as it were. They hit back-to-back home runs to start the game, Lindor and Brantley, and it was like as if with 1-2 swings of the bat, this game was over. But it was far from it. They would go on to score 6 runs in the first, turn around and score 5 more in the second. And as Rick just mentioned, they batted around 3 times in the first 3 innings. That's unheard of.
Yeah, I don't ever recall seeing that. I really don't.
And by then it was 13-0. Rajai Davis pops one up.
There you go. You're the pitcher. You called for it. You had to put the hand up. Fair catch. It's all his.
Pat O'Brien, Chevrolet plays of the game. This was it, man. Lindor, kaboom. 8th time. Franchise record in a single season. He's led off the game with a home run.
That was a fastball, and then the one following was a changeup to Brantley, and they were off and running from that point on.
And oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that Michael Fulmer, who started the game, lasted 5 pitches.
Right.
And he was out. 5 pitches. Well, he was out of the game.
The way this offense was going, you knew something was brewing. I mean, they haven't been very good for a while, swinging the bats and driving in runs and hitting with runners in scoring position. So they were due to explode, and they certainly did.
And then Mike Clevenger just took it all in stride and did his thing for 6 one-hit shutout innings.
He spent more time on the bench than he did on the mound. And Alonso hit the 3rd home run. The Indians over the 200 mark. They're at 201 now for long balls. They're looking for their 16th shutout.
First base, diving stop by Ducey. And there is out number 2. The storylines today brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Magic number 1. It's always great when it's down to 1. You don't have to worry about the scoreboard. You don't have to worry about anything. Just go out and do it yourself. And with runners in scoring position, last 6 games, 5 for 55. Today they had 6 hits. Just today.
We've seen that a number of times. I've seen him with 8 hits.
Weird how it goes.
It really is.
Greg Allen, a two-out single, his first time up. When the Indians get 3 or more hits with runners in scoring position in a game, they are 41-8 on the year. Back out of play. Greg Allen had a 14-game hitting streak that carried from the middle of July through the first day of August. Best by a Major League rookie this year. And he draws a 2-out walk.
Stepping in for the Indians, number 36, Johnny Jet.
You know, the other thing, too, that I thought was interesting is that when you look at how teams have fared in divisional play since this format began in 1994, only the Yankees have won more divisional titles in the American League than Cleveland. The Yankees have 14, Atlanta in the National League with 12, Dodgers with 10, Cardinals with 10, Indians with 9. And so today will be their 10th.
Right.
Cardinals will not win a divisional title this year. At least I don't say it's a long shot at best.
It would be, yes. Two teams to climb there.
Dodgers certainly could. They're only half a game out.
The way they're playing right now, yeah. I say they will.
Atlanta's going to win another one. They'll get to 13. Yankees will not. Ground ball to third. Oh, he bobbles it. Buggy whips it to first and gets Diaz to end the inning. So we'll go to the 9th. The Indians 3 outs away from popping some champagne. to 2 Septembers ago when the Indians wrapped up the Central Division Championship in the Motor City against Detroit. The Indians' first divisional crown under Terry Francona. And in October, that would carry them all the way to the 7th game of the World Series. And now closing in on yet another Central Division Championship. Cody Allen on the hill trying to close it out once again. Brad Hand, though, is up in the bullpen. Not sure how Tito's going to play this with Hand getting loose. You would assume if he's up, he's coming into the game.
I would think so.
Swung out and missed. It's 1-1.
Good breaking ball there.
Down to the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Foul back. Now the 2-2 offering. And a pop-up foul. Out of play. Cody Allen's 2-2 pitch. Whoa. He did not go on the appeal. Full count. Cody Allen passed Bob Wickman and took over sole possession of first place on the Indians' all-time save list back on the 4th of July when we were in Kansas City. Now the 3-2. Fouled right back. Cody Allen, though, too, you think about his career, and it's marked by a guy who has always put team first. 3 years ago, actually 2 years ago, he was the closer when the Indians acquired Andrew Miller, and he went to Tito and said, hey, I'll do whatever it takes, whatever makes us better.
Yeah, he's a trooper, man. He's a warrior coming in. Got him.
Struck him out looking. And Cody Allen retires the only 2 that he faces here this afternoon. The Indians went out and acquired Brad Hand this year. He and Allen have shared the closer's duties. This is obviously not a save situation, but Brad Hand will come on to try to finish this one here today with the Indians up 15-0. He'll come on to face Christian Stewart and then Jared Saltalamacchia, so he'll get a couple of left-handed bats, although
Salty, switch hitter.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not Christian Stewart, but Saltalamacchia, and then Mikey Matuk is the forgot who came on for.
Yeah, this card has been a little skewed. There's a few players' names on there.
Well, let's take a trip down memory lane. The first divisional championship in the Progressive Field era, 1995. Jose Mesa on the hill against the Orioles.
Boy, yes. Never forget that. 41 years. A long time coming. What a team that was. They went on to go 144. And there's the titles you were talking about. Indians, 2 more outs. They will have 10.
Sandy Alomar, part of those teams, a big part of those teams that took the American League by storm in the mid-1990s. They won the divisional championship in 1995, 96, 97, 98,
so dominant.
And 99. They were edged out in 2000, but came back and won it again in 01.
Could not have started the history of this ballpark from '94, although that year didn't finish because it had ended short. But from that point on, the baseball that has been played in this ballpark has been spectacular.
Mikey Matuk. With Jared Saltalamacchia to follow. Pitch. Pulled foul. Now leaving the count. There have been dramatic moments throughout the season, be it clutch performances, milestones, or just dramatic plays. But as far as the Central Division race is concerned, that drama was removed a long time ago. Two-one pitch. The Indians took over sole possession of first place in the American League Central Division 18 games into the season. April 21st, when the Indians were in Baltimore behind Mike Clevenger, they shut out the O's 4-0. They took over first place, and they have never.
That was a CG by Cleve. There's only one. And he's a starter today.
Brad Hand walks Mikey Matuk. So 1-on-1 out, and Jared Saltalamacchia. He has walked and lined out the center field. Pulled foul. You look back over the season, though, I mean, there's just so many moments to try and pick out, you know, individual moments. As you see Trevor Bauer, he's got his GoPro. He's ready to.
He knows. He's been.
This is Carlos Carrasco's version of the GoPro. Oh, goodness. Here's the 0-1 to Saltalamacchia. Swing and a miss. But I think back to, you know, early in the season, Yonder Alonso, the grand slam in Seattle. You come home, the opener's always fun. Carlos Carrasco pitched well. The Indians beat the Royals 3-2 in the home opener. Trip to Puerto Rico, split a pair with the Twins, but Lindor homering in Puerto Rico in the first game of that series. Swing swing and a miss. He struck him out. 2 down. Indians went to Wrigley this year, took 2 from the Cubs there. No crazy win streaks this year like the last couple of seasons, when the Indians reeled off 14 in a row in 2016, and then last year won 22 straight. But it is a team that has steadily gone about its business with one goal in mind: to clinch the division, get back to October, and give yourself a chance to win the whole thing.
Yeah, take it from there. Everybody on their feet now. We're just waiting for that final out.
Strike back, right back to the backstop off the bat of Ronnie Rodriguez.
They're laughing at that swing. I think he didn't leave anything in the bag.
$15-0. With 2 down in the ninth. Brad Hand's 1-1 pitch. Strike called on the outside corner. Now the set of the 1-2 pitch. Swung out and missed. He struck him out, and the Cleveland Indians are Central Division champions for the 3rd year in a row. It marks their 10th overall Central Division championship, and it will be their 14th trip to postseason play in franchise history. And a well-deserved time to celebrate for the men on this roster and the coaching staff as well.
A long year of a lot of hard work, and you finally get to take a breath, relax, and enjoy.
The faces have really become familiar to Indians fans. Terry Francona and his coaching staff, Brad Mills, Carl Willis, Ty Van Berkeley, Mike Sarbaugh, Sandy Alomar, of course. We've talked a great deal about him. Scott Atchison. I mean, these guys, they put in long hours, do so much work. Mike Barnett with the video replay. But it's the guys who round out the starting 9 every day that the fans have become so attached to. Francisco Lindor, Michael Brantley, Jose Ramirez, Jason Kipnis, Jan Gomes, Cody Allen. Think about Corey Kluber and Josh Tomlin, Carlos Carrasco. The guys who really have been the core guys that have been here a long time.
The core guys, but as Tito says every year, it's going to take all 40, of that roster when you get to spring training from day 1.
Well, let's go downstairs to Andre Knott. Let the celebration begin.
Tito, you talk about enjoying this moment and everything you guys went through this season. What does it mean to have this happen?
Watching them out in the field right there, that's what it's all about. There's a lot that goes into this. I want them to enjoy it. And then we'll kick it back into gear, but I want them to enjoy it.
Being here as long as you've been here and being in baseball, what does it mean to win 3 titles in a row, no matter who you've been playing against?
It's hard to win. It's really hard to win. And we got more to go now. This is the first step. But like I said, I want them to enjoy it.
Go enjoy your players. Appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thanks, Andre. Thanks, Tito. Terry Francona came to Cleveland when the franchise was down it was at a low point, and man, did he breathe life back into it in a hurry. His first year at the helm, the Indians were the wild card winner in 2013. And then after a couple of years of trying to get it figured out, they stormed back to the top of the standings and won the Central Division Championship in 16. Then again last year, and now again here in 2018, making it a three-peat. But as you heard Terry say, it's step one. It's a necessary goal to punch your ticket to October. It's the easiest way to get there. Win your division. Guarantees you at least a divisional series round. That wild card, as we learned in 13, oh, how fickle it can be. But now it's an opportunity to get the pitchers lined up, get some of the hitters on track, and go give it your best shot. As we stand right now, it looks like it's going to be the Indians and the defending world champion Houston Astros in the division series, and won't that be a lot of fun?
Oh my goodness. Well, you know what, it is fun just watching these guys appreciate it, because that's the grind. The 162, to get through that is not an easy thing to do, and even though they weren't pushed this year, you still have to work hard. You have to do it, and boy, now they've got their time to get things set and get everybody ready. You can give some guys some days off and get them a little stronger and healthier and get ready to go for the ultimate goal.
You know, this seems like maybe just a menial task that they do every day. You shake hands, you go through the line, but man, when you go through the grind of a long baseball season, come together in spring training, you forge friendships. You have your differences. You bump heads once in a while. You work through all of it. You have to truly cherish a moment like this. As Tito said, they'll get back to work tomorrow, but you have to take this moment, savor it, and really soak it in.
You certainly do, and that's everybody in the front office, in the organization, right from the top, from the ownerships, from the Dolans on down, to even the coaches in the minor league system and everybody that's a part of it. They all celebrate. It's all very, very special, because this is not an easy thing to do, and they've won the Central for the last 3 years.
Yonder Alonso, one of the new guys, celebrating as well, and we'll go back down to Andre Knott.
Hey, you're gonna get a hat. You're gonna get everything. I want to get both of you guys real quick. Long as you guys been here, he's the longest tenured guy here. What does it mean to win this with Josh, with everything you guys have been through?
We've been through a lot. You know, from day one, I feel like, you know, we came up together. You know, this never gets old. It's a lot of hard work that goes into it. It's going to be a great night tonight. It's a great honor to be with these guys and to be out here and play with these guys.
Josh, how happy are you for this guy, everything he's gone through?
Unbelievably happy. Unbelievably happy. We all know what kind of player he can be. He battled some health issues early on in his career and here lately, but I mean, he's had a great couple of years here, the past couple of years, and he's the heart and soul of this team. Tito talks about it all the time, there's no doubt about it.
The two guys that bat in between you, they talk about looking up to you. They talk about watching how you go through every bat. I'm not going to call you old, but what does it mean to have those two guys?
He's old. He's old now.
But what does it mean to have those two guys, two MVP candidates, thinking so much of you and loving playing with you?
Yeah, I just appreciate them. They come into work every day, ready to play, excited to play. They bring their energy every day. You know, they're special players. I'm honored to play with them. So, me, I just try to stay out of their way, I guess, and try to help them out any way I can for the most part.
Be honest, what does this year mean to you after everything you went through and everything you've been through?
It means a lot just to be back in a Cleveland uniform. Not knowing whether I was going to be back here to have this special moment with my family, Tomlin, my teammates, the upper management for believing in me that I was going to come back and play at a high level. I can't thank them enough. And to these fans, just thank you for always having my support. I know it always wasn't great, but at the same time, this is what we work so hard for, these moments like this.
You've done a great job doing this interview. You don't do it a lot, but when you do, you're very professional. Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
All right, get out of here.
What? Make him do them.
I try. He runs. Back up to you, boys.
All right, thanks, Andre. Great job down below. And the party is just getting started here at Progressive Field. We invite you to stay tuned. We'll take you inside the champagne-soaked clubhouse when we come back. Alan Jensen on the other side with Indians Live Postgame.